A sticker at the bottom of this.
Is all of your kind of glassware that you prefer to drink out of kind of repurposed from jam jars and other various and sundry things?
You're asking if I don't own actual glassware. If all I own are, like tin cans that have been washed or jars. Yeah, I own glasses. To answer the question, it's
because
not.
it's not a judgment. I love a good mason jar sitch. Like, you're in Brooklyn, I get it.
Okay. It's not like a Brooklyn thing. That's a thing that has been on homemaking blogs for 20 years now. And I would guess someone fucking figured that out before the internet, that, this is a nice jar, I can use that for other purposes. I don't think that took, the blockchain to unlock.
I feel like if you're taking if the aesthetic inspiration is not from Brooklyn hipster pickle farms or whatever, but from like design blogs where, blonde Midwestern ladies design tasteful barn weddings with a lot of wildflowers and mason jars, and that's even less on brand for you. A lovely aesthetic, no shade. It's just even odder for you.
Do you think the trad wife aesthetic is odd for me? Well, what do you want me to be drinking out of? Like a skull?
I could see you as one of those guys that buys like a heavy tumbler, a heavy glass tumbler with like the quilted pattern on it.
I know exactly what you mean. It's right over there. Men don't buy those. Well, I mean, some men do, but
how do men get them? Their girlfriends get them for them?
They come with, it's like a promotional item. They come with like alcoholic beverage, bottles of liquor that you buy.
That's funny because I definitely have bought one for an ex before.
Okay, well, you should have just bought the bottle of whiskey, and it would have come with it.
That's not a thing. I have never seen that.
That's how I got mine.
I
didn't purchase one glass.
What kind of whiskey?
I don't remember.
Came with a bottle of with an actual glass. See, but this is
a good one, obviously, a high-end one.
This is to my point that you're not purposefully striking out in the world to like create an aesthetic design for your place. These things are just coming to you. Jam jars, promotional whiskey glasses. It's just like whatever comes down the pike just ends up being the aesthetic of Virgil's life.
Well, isn't there something authentic about that?
Yes, I would argue that
crafting a life out of the detritus of my consumption.
I would argue that it's also authentic to strike out into the world and purchase the items that resonate with you. Arguably, it's more authentic than just assuming passively the put upon aesthetics of consumerism or the Smucker's company.
You want me to go to a tchotchke store and like get some object and put it in my apartment so I can resent it?
I don't want you to do anything that you don't want to do, Virgil. I just think that you can. It's like my mom once told me, Brianna, I think that you are, this is a very long time ago, so none of my contemporary friends should take offense. But it feels sometimes like you are passively accepting friendships instead of seeking out the friendships that are actually good for you and that you want. And, you should not just default into stuff, arguably. Now, glassware is not as important as friendship, but I would argue, you also complained recently on an episode about feeling like your space isn't where you want it to be more generally. And I think you should take control over that aspect of your life because your personal aesthetics can really affect your mood.
Take control over my surroundings in the way that a human being does. Exercise authority over my periphery.
Yeah. All the light touches is yours.
That shifted into a very specific critique of my friends. That dipped into another topic. And
I'm certainly not critiquing your friends.
I'm curious. I mean, there's a lot to think about here. I'm curious. Did you take your mother's advice to heart? And like just said, see you later, guys, to everyone who was accidentally a friend with you, and just start pursuing your dream friends? Who are your dream friends? I'm curious about that.
I can't say. People are gonna be mad at me and call me bourgeois and stuff. I mean, it is what it is, but
Was this Barack Obama?
absolutely not.
It's Mitch McConnell. It's just
No,
all the
there's a
friends from
woman.
TV.
There's a woman who was previously like the editor in chief of Teen Vogue, and I follow her on Instagram, and she seems really fun, and she's got great style.
What was
She's
she canceled
black.
for?
She's not been canceled. That she was two Teen Vogue editors before the one that just got canceled, and she's currently on the Talk, the one that, with Sharon Osbourne where she just got kicked off of.
The Other View, yeah.
Other View.
Knockoff of The View.
And I kind of, I want to be a hater because on some level I'm, envious of her, success, and she's very glamorous and beautiful, but also I can't because she just seems genuinely fun and kind of like chill and cool. And in my head, that's my parasocial relationship.
What would you do together?
We'd travel, we'd listen to music, we'd drink and talk about boys. What else do you do with friends?
That's a good point. Yeah. It's pretty much only a handful of things you can really do with them. like until you end up having sex with them and like it screws everything up.
Okay. That's never been my life. I have never had someone, if I like someone, we didn't end up becoming friends. We just dated immediately. You know what I mean? Like there's no slow burn. And then because we dated, we weren't friends. Friends.
Right. That's
yes,
one way. I mean, that's it's one way to do it. Okay. All right. So you want me to put invest not just money but time and creative energy into molding my surroundings.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be easier to just take a match to the place and just
Virgil,
walk away?
I do think that there are some like deeper psychological reasons. How long have you been living in that apartment?
Couple years.
And to have not wanted to hang things on the walls or like really nest. I want that for you because I moved here obviously in a rush because the campaign was like you have to be here in a week. And I was like, okay. And I rushed here and I got rid of my apartment in New York and all of that with an incredible amount of turnaround. I picked this place because I didn't think I was going to be there long and didn't put too much thought into it. And I could walk to work from here. And so when the pandemic started, I had just been a year on a campaign and hadn't really done much of anything. And it was bleak. But I have really nested over the pandemic, and I contrast how I'm feeling this spring to how I felt last spring. And the fact that my space is so much more appealing makes a big difference.
Are you saying that you want my emotions to change?
I want for you to be as happy as you can be. And I think that might be aided by a environmental shift. Now, if you are truly the happiest person on the planet, then pardon me for presuming that any improvement was needed. And I will shut my trap and go back to talking about Biden's address last night.
Well, first off, I don't trust happy people. Never have.
So do you not trust me, or do you think that I'm unhappy?
I think you're unhappy.
I can't argue.
If you really want an answer, there you go. Okay. I mean, what do you want me to put up? I mean, that's okay. That's what I'm kind of getting at here. Like, because I see the Instagram design accounts and shit like that. None of that. I don't really vibe with any of that.
I mean, there's the Instagram account. There are a million different aesthetics on Instagram. We just have to find. Are you talking about the videos, the pictures that come up on the Bad Faith account? Because I've been browsing and I've trained the algorithm to my taste.
Well, there's the ones you send me that are just
those
like.
Are from my. You mean from my
yours,
apartment?
right? Yeah, those are. Well, I mean, most are like kind of in that realm.
No, that's because I was Googling a bunch of blue bookshelves because I'm contemplating painting my bookshelves blue. It's just blue bookshelves. It's not about the whole, English countryside aesthetic that most of those pictures look like. Because obviously, I don't have an English cottage. It's just that's where blue bookshelves tend to live on Instagram, I guess.
You know what I think it is? I think I just can't. I think I can't just look at like some interior design and mentally place myself in that room. I
Yeah, a
think
lot of
I
people
have
like
to actually go there either by physically going there or by hallucinating or something, and in order to understand how the vibes are in that location. So I guess what I'm saying is I'd like to go see some interesting places.
Do you have friends who have spots that you like? Like your friend A spot that I have seen?
I mean, I like them. It's not really for me. I don't know.
Okay.
I
Because
don't know.
he had a cool vibe. He had the whole like bisexual lighting, pink blue thing that you like, but that's not exactly the vibe that you would be going for in your own house.
It wasn't pink and blue. It was actually blue and red.
Oh, well, the lighting made
It
it
was
seem
like, but the
like
lighting makes it kind of blend.
yeah.
But it is actually like MSNBC colors.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be that, but there's some basic things like painting, wall color can make a big difference. That's what I'm focused on now. Hanging some images on the wall.
Painting that cannot do that.
Okay, painting's a big.
I've
How about
seen
lighting?
a lot of films where I don't know if you've seen these Three Stooges films, but there
Yeah,
are
I'm
just so many
familiar.
ways that painting can go awry, and I'd rather
Okay.
avoid a circumstance like that.
A really underrated aesthetic, something that can really shift the aesthetic dramatically without doing anything permanent or harm inducing potentially, like no pratfalls involved, is lighting. You should have so many like me putting these string lights up here, and I have another set on that side of the room. I don't have any overhead lighting, and there's a harsh track lighting right here, but otherwise there's no overhead lighting in the apartment. So I have a lot of low soft lighting. You want lighting up high, you want lighting down low. This is on a dimmer, so I can,
Okay, I
that.
would like a dimmer. I would like that.
Okay,
I would like to adjust the lighting here.
okay, yeah, a dimmer.
That's one thing I would like. I just don't know what kind of fixtures to get because there's a lot of strange light fixtures in here, and I don't really know how to mod them.
If I were
Someone came,
you, go ahead.
someone came over
Okay,
was like, oh, you can change that, and you can do this, you can do X, Y, Z, and then they left, and I never saw them again. So
I could do this for you, Virgil. I would love when COVID is done, when we're both vaccinated.
next week.
I would 100%. Well, I have like 3 more weeks till I can get my second shot, but I would very much like to do your apartment. The idea of shopping with your money and getting
Okay,
to do
there
it
it
an
is. There it
interior
is.
design
Yeah,
job.
there it is. That's I don't have the money for this shit.
This not. I'm not a spend. I'm not like. I'm not a. The opposite of spendthrift. Spendthrift. The opposite of spendthrift. Which thing does spendthrift mean? Is it a cheap person or a person who spends a lot?
Spendthrift is someone who spends a lot.
Okay, I'm not a spendthrift.
Wait,
Doesn't that sound
wait,
wrong?
hang on.
If you're thrifty, you don't spend a lot.
Shit. I know it's fuck. Okay. Okay, let's put it to the audience here. I'm pretty sure spendthrift means someone who spends a lot. That's my guess. I'm betting
Okay.
on that.
No one's weighing in yet.
I
Someone
don't
wants
think
you
they're
to
paying
do.
attention. I think they have this on mute and they're just sort of listening to music and just sort of looking at our images because it's pleasing to them.
Someone says yes. You're right. Spendthrift is you spend a lot of money. Okay, so
All
I'm not a
right, first
spendthrift.
blood point for me.
Well, that's the way I said it the first time. I just questioned it because it doesn't feel right. But look, I can be frugal with it, and I feel like respectfully, there's you've waded into these waters so little that
Yeah.
even if I do anything, it'll make a significant impact in the space.
Well, the thing is, I mean, this is the real point. One is it's a money thing, and two, nothing is permanent and everything dies. So it doesn't really seem like it makes a lot of sense to put up some wallpaper or change the light fixtures or whatever. You know what I mean?
That's amateur hour, Virgil. Like, especially for people in our generation who move so much and never really have a place that they own. You cannot spend your life thinking, oh, I'm going to move in a year. Because guess what? I said that for my last apartment and I was there for 7 years. My ex said that about his apartment. He's been there for 10 years. Like, we're renters. And the second you move into a space, you should do everything that you can to make it feel homey. Immediately hire, or if you can do it yourself, hang your pictures, paint the walls, order the light fixtures and the pillows and whatever you think is going to make you feel comfortable. Get a good area rug. immediately.
Maybe like a fish.
I don't know
Like
that
a
you were ready
fish
for a
on the
fish.
wall.
I think that you.
No, not a live one. Like one that's mounted. You know, like people do that, catch a big fish and they mount. I wouldn't catch it though. I would just buy someone else's.
David Williams has a question for you.
Does the dark attitude get? Well, I don't think we've been over this many times. Try to keep up, Dave.
Do we actually have questions from the Discord?
Do we have a question? That's a good. That's a great question. Let's see. Okay, so welcome to the stream. First of all, welcome to the stream. Welcome to our Thursday night good vibe stream. We're doing a stream again. Haven't done one of these in a while. Been cranking out the content for the show, but we had a little downtime. We had a little takes that we wanted to give, a little extra space for it. No guests here. This is just Virgil Bree production. Wanted to do a little more streaming. We also wanted to celebrate the launch of our Discord, the long-awaited Bad Faith Discord. And if you are a subscriber to the show, you have instant access to that. You just have to, and if you're a subscriber and you're not in, then I don't know. You got to complain to someone who's not me because I don't know any of that crap works. Apparently, a lot of people have been having trouble with it. Which,
really?
Yeah. Well, because the integration between Patreon and Discord is not that seamless.
I don't know how it happened. I downloaded Discord. I don't know. It just happens. I don't even know how it happened. Maybe I had a Discord. I think I had subscribed to. I had maybe registered for Michael Brooks' Discord, but it just appeared on my phone when I downloaded the app.
I think you at some point clicked a box that gave all of your personal information and control of all of your digital devices to the Discord Corporation.
All right.
I don't know. It feels the same to me. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. But yeah, but anyway, so there's like 1,000 people in the Discord right now. And, we want to celebrate that. That's wonderful. It's a thing that's
cool.
Yeah, it's a burgeoning, autonomous community that's devoted to you and I. And hopefully we can integrate that into our streams. It's all about integration, multi-platform, synergy.
What kind of synergy? Like reading questions that they may or may not have offered up to us?
Okay, I can take the hint. Let's see. All right. Let's see. 9:24. Okay. Here are some questions from the Discord. From the Discord channel, Keep the Faith. Okay. Gregorus asks, would you do an episode on DC Statehood? Not really anything to say about that. So no.
I was tweeting about it today a little bit, just because I got asked for like a news hit that I did earlier, which is why I have clothes on. What city and state, and I feel like I feel inadequate every time I can only answer half of that question.
I'm not really. I mean, I only see. There's not really a debate over DC statehood. There's none of the arguments in opposition are rooted in history or reality. It's all just nonsense.
I mean, yes. Moreover, I don't know. I'm getting a little exhausted of talking about everything because the filibuster has made me like nihilistic. It's not going anywhere, so we can't have anything. And so the only thing I'm really interested in talking about is how to keep, Democrats from pretending that they're doing more than they are and using the specter of doing all these great progressive things to burnish their reputation while safely hiding behind procedural obstacles that they know aren't going anywhere because they're not going to move them anywhere.
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious that it's pretty obvious that the filibuster is the main impediment, not just to actually passing anything, but to actually clarifying the matter. Where someone like Manchin can say they support something, well, knowing that full well, it's never going to pass, so whatever, and they get the good boy points for it. That being said, I mean, I look at these debates. We've talked a lot about the legislative process, and I just wish we could just fast forward to a year from now.
Why?
Because then we could just look back and everyone saying Biden's the most progressive president, he's a new FDR, blah blah blah. Look at all this great shit that he proposed. Okay, well we can just go and see how that actually shook out. Because everything sounds great on paper. Well, a lot of things sound great on paper, not perfect, but a lot of things sound great on paper. And I'm curious to see if it actually happens, because those legislative those impediments, that bar is real high.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I was just asked on this show with Mark Hill, how was the speech? I mean, the speech honestly was great. It was like, except for how it's like a tower of lies, but substantively it's great. I think that Biden actually does strike this chord of, yes, making things that are not actually progressive because everybody wants them, but considered to be progressive in the scope of our conservative politics, sound moderate, because he's just such a consistent moderate, and he says them kind of a matter of factly, and he doesn't apologize for it. And yeah, if I believed what he said, it would seem like a solid speech. I think that a lot of his framing was actually quite good, but
sure,
that is in and of itself a problem, because he is effectively very good at misleading millions of Americans into believing that he's actually trying his best when he isn't. So the speech was very good and very scary.
Yeah, it's like, get the PRO Act on my desk. What are you doing? Did you just wait around? What's your day-to-day like?
He could have taken the opportunity in that speech. If he really wanted the PRO Act on his desk, he could take the opportunity to point out, I mean, maybe this is uncouth and not what is done during these kinds of speeches, but it requires, Republicans say they don't want us to get rid of the filibuster because they think there should be some moderating influence in Congress. If that's it, okay. But we can't do that if they're going to be so obstinate that we can't get 10 Republicans to actually vote alongside the interest of their representative bodies and support something like the PRO Act, and go through and name names and say, you are from this state. Here are all the unions or the industries based in your state that support the PRO Act. Here's how you're betraying. Here's the popularity of this, that, and the other policy in your state. And as long as we can't even get 10 Republicans to go along with it, we are going to have to abolish the filibuster and make it a very public referendum on Republican intransigence. But
or something that just, and this is a big reason why a lot of people, including myself, supported Bernie Sanders, something that clarifies and demystifies the essential contradiction under capitalism, and says that, okay, there's labor and there's management, and so far the entire legal regime that we live under is biased in favor of management. And this is, I mean, people would be very receptive to this message, because right now the approval of big corporations, the approval of management is in the dumps.
Yeah,
people want the higher taxes on the rich.
And this was a case I was making a little bit on yesterday's episode with Jane McLevy, because the narrative itself is so compelling, and workers, at least of a certain generation, know what happened. They felt what happened. And that's why a lot of them voted for Trump, right? They saw what these trade agreements did. They saw Democrats throwing labor under the bus, and they said, screw it, I'm leaving. Yep. And they know the narrative already, and it's kind of right there for Democrats to tap into and say, that was another generation of Democrats. We're going to change things. Now, that's hard for maybe Biden to say, because he was literally right there in Congress voting for all of that crap and supporting it every step of the way. So, it depends on how he can spin it, but he could, if he wanted to Joyanne Reed's point. I'll never forget this. After the last primary debate, who cares what someone did 30 years ago? Why would anybody care what someone did 30 years ago?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but at the end of the day, we know, who Biden is. He's pretty much what he advertises. He's not a class warrior. He's not an anti-capitalist or anything like that. Even though he's someone who makes overtures to labor and, says that he's pro-labor, and has actually, rolled back a number of the anti-labor executive orders from Trump, and is, filling the NLRB with way better people than Trump. But that's, I would consider that to be the bare minimum for someone who professes to support organized labor, and who considers organized labor to be a big part of his coalition. I remember when Biden, began running, and one of his biggest boosters for a while, like, through events throughout 2019 in, I think, like Iowa and New Hampshire, he had these, I think it was a firefighters union. I want to say, and they would wear these big, colorful, I think, yellow shirts No shirts weren't that big, actually. Maybe these
I
were just
remember that.
I think these were just like big people. Because you got to be pretty large to be a firefighter. I'm pretty sure. Like, taller than average, I think.
I mean, there's a lot of not that ladies can't be tall, but there's lady firefighters now. All you got to do is be able to like hoist like a 200-pound bag over your shoulder. We can do anything now, Virgil.
Yeah, that's not. I'm not saying that as a gender thing. I didn't specify gender. I'm just specifying height. Like, I'm saying I'm sure that short kings can be firefighters as well, but that just I don't know. That's maybe suboptimal. I don't know. I'm not a firefighter. I've never really studied it.
Me either. I gotta say.
I imagine that if you're taller, you can carry more things. Like as a rule.
I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of. I mean, I feel like I know a lot of guys who are on the shorter side who lift a lot. I feel like they experience social pressure to bulk up because they're not as tall, and social pressures being what they are, and they seem pretty strong. Like I've dated some short kings in my time who have surprised me with their strength. They all get a little gully and be like, "Oh, we made the same thing. I can beat you in a fight," and I cannot.
and then you're never friends with them again after you kick their
ass. Well, let me not say were those fights. Yep.
Sorry, that got off track. What was my point? Okay, yeah, right out the gate, one of his big things was, I'm supported by these union guys. And then they would go to all his speeches and he would like point to them and make a big show of how much he's like a working class Scranton Joe. So that's been a part of his constructed political appeal throughout his career. The gritty Scranton shit, which is obviously in conflict with the fact that he's literally the senator from Delaware. He's senator from the management state, the state that all the fucking corporations are based in.
And nobody touches him on that. I mean, we have an episode that's coming up for Monday in which we just ended up discussing this a little bit with a guest who was a Warren supporter. And, one of the questions that I asked was why we didn't see more of a... Wait, what?
I didn't know that she was a Warren supporter.
Yeah, she's a Warren supporter. So one of the questions I asked is
why... She'd have warned me.
I asked her the question on the episode.
Yeah, why was it that know Warren... in advance?
Why was it that Warren didn't push that tee off between, with her... She came onto the national stage with a critique of Biden, and that critique never really in his history with the banking industry, and never really pushed him on that at all on the debate stage.
Never pushed Biden on the debate stage, you mean?
No,
the only I mean, it beats me. I don't know what the hell that woman was doing.
I don't know, man. I don't like to think about it too much. I mean, immediately after the primary was over, and when we were first contemplating this podcast, I thought a lot about how, let me not go too hard on Warren and Warren supporters, because we're trying to rebuild a coalition, and ultimately in the grand scheme of things, they're the people who are closest ideologically and maybe easiest to flip, and let me try to be graceful. But all of these months out, it's starting to feel like they don't exist. I don't encounter them. There was such a small fragment of the population.
It's like 1,000 people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of them jump ship right after Iowa or right after New Hampshire.
Yeah.
I mean, they exist. They're just tenured professors who are, pissed at their grad students for not being at their beck and call for minimum wage and no benefits.
I don't know, man. I think a lot about the psychology of these people, because so many of them truly are my peers. And to a T, they say things like, but she's so smart. And,
sicko behavior.
The plan, the plan stuff is really salient to them. She has a plan, this idea that just brain power is the problem in America, not corruption, not greed, not money in politics, not the accumulation of obscene amounts of coerciveness that comes with money imbalances. Mm-hmm. Just no one's thought about it hard enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really funny if you think about it.
Yeah.
I always thought, I mean, that does appeal to a certain kind of sick brain person. I think the idea of plans, but I always hear that and think, well, all right, just give us the plans and we'll see you later. What are you holding us hostage? Like, no, you have to make me president or else you'll never get the plans. Like, you're the fucking
Right.
Joker.
I mean, what do you think is then the quality that's most important in a president? Because I think
President.
because your point is right. Like
Right.
ultimately,
Patriotism.
if
Absolutely. The courage of the courage of conviction.
I mean that last thing, yes. I mean, after Obama, where during which I think I was more susceptible to the he's smart and he's going to think, especially after Bush, it was like Bush was a dumb and Obama's a constitutional lawyer and so he's going to
Yeah,
think us out of
yeah,
all of this.
yeah.
After Obama, I remember reflecting the way you do after a breakup, like what are the qualities I want in my next partner? And it was all of the stuff that I used to think I valued went away and it was just like integrity, conviction, humanism, a belief in the intrinsic value of man, like these kinds of intangibles, because I felt like you will make the right decision if your values are in the right place and you have a spine and you're kind of untethered from money, from corporate money. And that's why for all his flaws, Bernie was so exciting, because how often do you get something like that?
Right. Someone who is genuinely independent from a party structure, genuinely not uh individually uh a servant of capital in the way that most Democrats are, and who has been able to uh find political success as an independent, which there's really no one else out there who's been so consistently successful in the past, what, 40 years? I mean, who else could you name?
Yeah. There's a liberal narrative that says I heard this a lot in 2016. Bernie left diverse Brooklyn for white Vermont because he just couldn't stand being around POCs. And it was always so ironic.
He couldn't stand being around all those Jews. Yeah.
And what's so ironic about it is I always saw that as kind of strategic genius, whether or not, it was purposeful, but, only because he was in Vermont could he have gotten into Congress being who he was. Only because he was in like this weirdo, not, like kind of no man's land state.
I assure you he was. I mean, that is like the unique circumstance that allowed him to prosper, because he probably would not have been able to be elected in a place like, larger, a place like Massachusetts or something. I mean, one point is, I assure you he did not move to rural Vermont because it was friendlier to Jews than Brooklyn, New York. He moved there because he was a friggin' hippie. He was a friggin' hippie in the 1970s.
Yeah. I actually know a guy who's a black guy whose parent is a Jewish hippie from Vermont.
He used to crash at someone's cabin until they told him to fuck off. It's just bum around there.
Well, don't you know that's his, what do they call this, deadbeat phase? Oh Lord, the media.
Yeah,
Remember
that rocks.
That's
the most relatable thing to me. It's like with Kristen Cinema. It's like, oh, like the part where you were like a weird anarchist crust punk. Like, that's relatable to me to a degree. But all the shit you did after that is just weird and awful.
Well, that's why people are so despairing, right? Because it feels like this perfect series of historical events created Bernie.
Yeah.
And in the same way that, frankly, I felt about Obama. I mean, for all of his flaws, I mean, the ability for him to get elected when he did, he's like exactly the kind of person who could have done it. And like, how do you, like, half black, half white, grew up overseas, perfect academic pedigree, blah, 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 blah. Aesthetically,
growing up overseas was an asset.
Well, maybe not. But I do feel like, and this is my own personal bias, because at the time, looking back, I was also an expat kid who had lived in Kenya. He was from Kenya. There were all of these parallels that made me very excited about him at the time, just on an interpersonal level. And I remember thinking that part of his ability to move through different spaces so easily is part of being a third culture kid. And your whole life moving a lot, dealing with all kinds of people who are culturally unfamiliar. And that's obviously a projection, but I always felt like that was part of his smoothness, his ease.
Made him cool. Made him cool. He was good at parties. I
It
believe
made him a
all of that.
chameleon.
Yeah, this is like character Barack Obama. Yeah, I want to get some more questions,
Yeah.
but I did catch a little bit of the congressional address,
Mhm.
and like I thought it was really funny because
What part?
I had it on mute most of the time. It was really funny because the to see Congress empty and like it looked like Congress after the events of Mars attacks. And
Or
that part
1/6.
yeah, and that part I loved. I want to see more of that. The actual stuff that Biden was saying, great proposal, sounds great, whatever. But I did catch one thing that he said.
What's
I
that?
mean, I assume like this was kind of a motif in it. Is he was defending a lot of these policies by saying, this is actually, fiscally responsible. This is something that, Republicans should get behind, blah, blah, blah. There should be bipartisan, things like the child tax credit, universal child care. And I don't know why. I mean, I guess that's pretty much part of Biden's political instinct, but those are popular, like, period. These are very popular proposals, even among Republicans, Republican rank and file voters. And you're also going to get maximum 2 Republican votes for any of this shit in the Senate, and probably not even that, probably 0. So I don't know what that's for. It feels like it's probably for the same audience as like the Lincoln Project, right?
I mean, I think it could be halfway to an argument that's useful. Like, if you're really going to make the case and that these Republicans are not representing their constituents' interests, then, also proving to their constituents that these things are affordable, whatever that means, that we can pay for them, as though it works like that. Like, I understand MMT people, get off my back. But like, if you want to message that way, then I think that can be part of a broader argument, a broader appeal to Republicans who have been indoctrinated with that way of thinking, as have Democrats, by the way. But I take your point that it doesn't really mean that much if you aren't gonna close the loop. Because if you're just speaking to the Republicans in the room, they know and they don't care.
I mean, it also feels like, okay, we had a lot of success in the past 2 cycles of peeling away suburban voters, like upscale suburban white voters. And maybe we just want to continue that. And we know that these voters are pretty well off generally, and like they will support expansions and entitlements, particularly when it benefits them, but they will not support substantial tax increases on themselves. And like that's the messaging that Republicans use most effectively to claw those voters back.
Did you see that clip of the 3 Republican like news, whatever, pundits, broadcasters who lost their minds when one of the 3 read the true stat that Republicans even favor tax on the wealthy? And the blonde woman goes, first of all, the man just denies it. A man just denies it and starts lying, saying that's just not true. When they find out more details about the plan, they don't like it, which is just what people say because they think they can say it, but it's not true. A bunch of leftists were saying that about Medicare for All, and there's some actual studies about that. But like, Medicare for All has gotten more popular despite all of the attacks over the last year without Bernie even campaigning. So that's not even true anymore. But he just lies about that. And then the woman starts to lose her mind and goes, of course they're happy to, pay for things with our money. With our money. It's a complete mask off moment. And then the original guy who read the facts is just kind of passively sitting there, because even you can tell that even he understands that the optics of this are terrible and this is not a fight that they should be fighting. I should not just describe it. I should just find the clip. I'm sorry.
Sometimes, I mean, this actually does make me empathize the most with the MMT people, because like that aversion to spending, that aversion that's been drilled into people's brains over the past 50 years, that goes away if you can convince people of all the MMT shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would work. I remember thinking about this during the campaign. It's like, do we have time in the context of a campaign cycle to explain to everybody about MMT and to withstand all of the
I doubt it.
Media that's going to be focused on this? No, it's like not worth it. So you're running a campaign and you've got all of these leftists being like, why are you talking about pay-fors? It's MMT. And it's like, yeah, I know, but we've got like 6 months. I can't explain MMT to all of America and withstand all of the negative ads that are going to be about it in 6 months. So just like simmer. for a
No,
second.
Bernie had like at maximum 3 things that he tried to communicate. Every single speech, every single media hit, everything. In the course of that entire year and a half long campaign,
Yeah.
MMT was not something that, oh, that'd be nice, but that's not really something that he can sit down and convince people of any more than Yang could, make that much headway into a UBI, which, didn't exactly sweep the country, despite, him showing up in the debates and being, warmly received. That being said, I don't know, maybe the next 10 years or something, MMT could become, a bigger issue. But it also, I mean, it's kind of a shortcut in that it also, if you convince people of the MMT stuff, then it means that you're not actually trying to defuse the white resentment that is inherent to a lot of redistributive policies, that cost of racism that everyone will experience, which it probably makes sense to defuse that.
I mean, I don't know that's necessarily true, but also like this is the thing that we're talking about with Eddie Glaude. Also, it's like there's a way that pursuing certain kind of policies can be part of that diffusing process, and I'm not mad at the idea that you can kind of in the short term shortcut around some of it by saying it's not your money going to pay for undeserving poors. It's just like money. Like you don't actually have to pay for it. And I don't think I think you're still going to have to do that work anyway, because just
I agree.
It's just like such a lift. It's people have been told their entire lives that this is how the government works. You got to balance the paycheck. It doesn't jibe with human experience to really accept that all the mythology about balanced budgets and deficits and all of that was like pure theater for a century.
Yeah, and it's also kind of my, I don't want to say hostility to MMT, but skepticism is it also is basically trying to be an end run again around actual class conflict. That says, we don't actually need to redistribute anything. We can still have billionaires and all that shit. We're just going to spend more at the bottom.
Yeah.
Which, it makes sense, but that, that doesn't actually fundamentally change any kind of power dynamic. Anyway, you want to go to another question?
Yeah, let's do that. I'm sorry, I was still in the background trying to look at the video, but I can't find it.
Don't worry. Have you been having fun with the Discord, Bree?
A little bit. I have some qualms.
Okay, let's. You want to talk about them here?
I mean, a couple. Okay, so the Tops channel, the Tops people are not taking this seriously. Okay, they're making a joke out of Tops.
Okay, I don't like that either.
Somebody put in here like a link to all of like the going out tops from the early aughts that the girls used to wear. They all of them were like a halter with a lace situation. It wasn't good. They were long. They would like come down long enough to cover your belly when you're wearing these low rise. The point is that they're making a mockery. They're making a mockery of my need to source good tops.
So there's not enough. There's not enough like sincere. Let that focus. Oh, okay.
Like it's not a joke. Tops aren't a joke.
There's not enough sincere fashion discussion in the Tops channel. It's a lot of goofing around.
It's a lot of goofing around. So that's one.
Well, I don't like that. I don't like that.
I don't like it either. Another thing is the dogs channel. All the channels that I requested, there's tomfoolery afoot. There's malarkey.
Okay, I have not checked in the dogs channel. Can you give me a little update? There's so many channels I can't really follow.
It's a lot of channels. Immediately, it's a bunch of cat people making a mockery of the dog channel, talking about, I think we should only have a cat channel. That's not very camaraderie.
Well, maybe we need to, I don't even know how to do this, but maybe we need to appoint some kind of channel specific moderator. I think it's possible. I believe it's theoretically possible to do that.
No, cat people. Go ahead. Who will what?
Who will moderate the dog channel and evict all the cat people from the dog channel?
I mean, I don't know, man. First of all, cat people are sneaky. Cats don't stay where they're supposed to stay notoriously. That's how cats be. And
where is anyone supposed to be?
I was on a run a couple of days ago, and in Georgetown, are you familiar with DC at all?
Intimately.
All right. I was over there by, there's like that little lock, like Jefferson little stream through. little stream cutting through like townhouses in Georgetown, like colonial Georgetown or whatever.
I believe
Anyway,
that's called the Potomac.
no, okay, no, it's okay. Anyway, I was walking by a townhouse talking to my mom, and I looked up, and there's this black cat on the windowsill of this townhouse, like 2 floors up, like a little, like a little cottage, brownstone, you would call it in a different city.
The White House.
Littler. Sorry?
The White House is the formal term.
And this cat clearly was not supposed to be outside. The window was cracked minimally in a way that I think the owner thought this cat's not going anywhere. And the cat, the thing about cats is they have no expression, but you can know exactly what they're thinking. And it was like sizing up if it could survive the leap from the 2nd floor. It was skeptical. I also was skeptical. It was high, but it was also then assessing whether it could jump to this tree and make off into the world by itself. And I was like, if this were a dog, I would knock on the door and be like, "Sir, ma'am, your pet seems to be in distress. I think you should." But it was a cat. And I was like, this cat knows what it's doing. Like, this is just a cat doing cat stuff. I'm not going to inconvenience myself, put my mom on hold for this cat malarkey.
I admire cats because they seem to believe that God exists, and they're defiant and ungrateful about the fact of having been created. And I relate to that highly.
All right. I mean, that cat, I'm sure survived and is fine. It is going to live for like 27 years because that's the nature of cats. Because the world isn't fair, and the just world of hypothesis is bunk.
Are there anyone actually posting the dog channel, sincerely? Are they people getting irritated? Hey, I'm just trying to post a dog here. Maybe we just have a cat audience. It's very possible.
You claimed on the last episode that there's way more dog people than cat people and blah, blah, blah.
Yes, there are in the general population.
Okay. People are posting their dogs. It's cute.
Are they good dogs?
They're only good dogs. There's no such thing as a bad dog.
There's a few.
There's no bad dogs. Only bad. Look at the schnauzer.
What about the Biden dog that bit a bunch of people?
Like I said, no bad dogs, just bad owners.
Okay. All right. Oh, that sounds nice. Oh, wait, that sounds pleasant. Well, okay. So, here's a message. Stop. If you're a cat person, stop screwing with the dog channel. Just leave these poor misguided fools alone.
Sunshine.
Oh, that's a cute dog. That's a good dog. Let's take another question. All right. This is from Loom. With Cori Bush's recent response about the squad, does that make you even more excited for the chance that Nia Turner gets elected? Also, are you hopeful that questions like that would be responded to more united if she does?
One can hope. Look, the thing I'll say in the grand scheme of things is that Senator Turner, at this point, and what I know of her as an individual before going into the squad, going into Congress, has more conviction and a longer record of being willing to kind of buck the status quo and expectations than some other people who either didn't have that long a record because they were fairly new to politics, or just were more traditional political candidates like Ayanna Pressley. Obviously, there were some real radicals as well, like Rashida Tlaib. And Rashida Tlaib hasn't exactly been stridently like, let's force out the votes or anything. But she's also kind of kept her nose out of some of the worst controversies through all of this. She's been kind of offline and hasn't incurred a lot of ire, which may or may not mean that she's like trying her best behind scenes. I don't know. I just can't read much into it one way or the other.
Sounds like you're getting perilously close to saying, Rashida Tlaib, you need to post more.
No,
that's where the politics are happening.
Not if it's going to be these posts that disappoint me, like some of the others. It's interesting to watch as the posts that used to feel so inspiring from them. I'm seeing a lot of lefties respond to posts like, "We need Medicare for all now." Like, okay, what you gonna do about it? Like, stop posting, start doing like that. The sloganeering isn't as effective as it used to be.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing posts that like don't have that many likes and retweets.
Yeah, I think the shadow banning is real, frankly. As a rule, the posts have gotten worse. Posts have gotten way worse in the past year.
Are you talking about the squad members posts?
No, like overall. Overall, the posts have
Okay.
gotten really fucking bad, and it's not your fault. It's not. I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying generally. I do think, there is a real difference between the squad post today and the squad post 2 years ago, because now, and I'm not trying to be up on AOC, but now it's like, epic smackdowns against Ted Cruz's social media manager. And I find it all so friggin' tedious. And it's just like, that's all coming from the same place. That's like, there's like one social media firm that runs all the politicians' accounts now.
Sure.
I do think, here's where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
You remember, Omar, like a few months into her term, she got so much shit for criticizing the Israeli influence on American foreign policy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a real, like she faced real condemnation from her own party.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that backlash and that experience and the cowardice of the people who should have been defending her, I think that has changed the tenor of people like Rashida Tlaib and Omar and AOC, people who are at least felt more radical at the time and were openly more radical in 2019. And I think it kind of led to a readjustment in terms of like public proclamations.
I could see them getting scared by any number of episodes, but also there are tweets that are identical to what they tweeted in 2018, 2019. People just don't believe it anymore. I mean, in 2019, if Biden had given a speech like he did earlier this week, and then AOC subsequently tweeted, if healthcare is a human right, we need Medicare for all now, I would be like, yes, that's a great subtweet. Screw Biden saying healthcare is a human right and then talking about premiums and deductibles and co-pays.
Yeah.
We need Medicare for all now. This queen
Private
gets to speak
healthcare
truth
is
to
a human
power.
right.
These days, if she when she tweets something like that, Medicare for all, healthcare is a human right, I'm like, I mean, you might as well just be reading me the dictionary. Like, tell me something I don't know, but I am not confident. You need to tell me what you're doing to try to secure it, because this tweet obviously isn't it.
In many ways, for a lot of issues, the left has won the messaging war,
right,
against what used to be the far right Reagan consensus, adopted by both parties. But the actual transcription process, bringing that consensus into actual policy, actually clawing back power from the capitalists, like it's not happening.
Yeah.
They're spending, like, we can say they're spending so far. There's some decent executive actions, but otherwise it still feels a lot like business as usual, but with a big aesthetic change.
Yeah, it hurts. It's worse. I mean, I know people all week have been saying, Brianna, you'll never be happy. You complain about everything. Biden did well. Why can't you admit it?
Who are you listening to? Who's saying that? Because it's not me saying that. It's not Ben saying that.
No,
is Ben telling you that? Is that what Ben tells you when I'm not around?
No, it's the internet. I mute them, but you can get one off before I mute you. Here's the thing. I hope the haters really enjoy that one tweet, because the worse the tweet is, like, the more I enjoy knowing that they're going to be writing stuff like that, like drafting and working on it hard into the wee hours, and I will never see another one. Let me just savor this one. All right. And you will never come across my path again. But, these people, these centrists, some of them aren't like terrible people or trolls. That's how they believe. They don't understand why I wouldn't just spend the time that I have applauding Joe Biden for what he has accomplished. And obviously there are things that he has done that are good. But when the entire world is in a project of manufacturing consent and doing exactly that and giving him nothing but accolades without any kind of perspective, then it's like, what can I say that advances the interests of my community and working class people across America? It's not saying Joe Biden is good. Who is helped by me saying, great job, Joe Biden, other than Joe Biden? I'm not Joe Biden's therapist, wife, mother.
Street team. Which
Like,
seems to be what people are demanding that you be.
that's not my job. My job is to hold people's feet to the fire as I see it, whether as a journalist or a podcaster or whatever you want to call it. I see zero benefit in
Influencer.
me saying, Joe Biden, good job, especially when I'm sorry, like, have people lost complete and total context of what's going on in this country?
Yeah.
Like, we were talking about poverty for half a second because COVID made people feel like we're all in this together. We're all going through a shared tragedy. And if I talk about how hard an essential worker has it, I like have this like, oh, it's like me too. We're all America. Let's bound ourselves together and like put our scrap metal in the tin so we can build bombs and like win the war. Like that. But the second the PMCs are like sending their kids back to daycare, which is all they apparently cared about. As soon as the daycare is open, all of the wealthy people were happy because they don't have to be home with their kids anymore. They're not going back to work because they can still work from their computers. But now they're happy. And now it's over. And now it's all about celebration. And it's like, I'm sorry, what do you think happened to the 15 million people who lost their health insurance last year? Like, where do you think they're at?
Yeah.
Did you see the 9.6% Black unemployment rates? Tell me exactly what we're celebrating.
Yeah, I see all the comparisons to the 1920s. The economy is going to expand. We've got low interest rates. We've got cheap credit. The government is just pumping money into the economy. And all I can think is, well, how the 20s ended, right?
Well, it was interesting. Jane kept talking about 1933 and comparing like, is this, what happened in 1933 and what happened now? And what really hurts, what's really annoying about the FDR comparison is if you boiled it all down and you didn't try to match policy for policy and spending numbers and everything else, if you just ask the simple question, what did Biden do that's permanent? What did Biden do that will be here a year from now, absent any other legislative changes? Name a thing. It's not checks because they're not recurring. It's not student debt relief that's ending in the fall.
Right. And he did not write down the student loan debt, though we're supposed to email him or some crap like that. It's on my to-do list.
That's right. The child tax credits expire.
All this is just honestly,
there's no $15 minimum wage.
You want to keep going with this line of argument, you just end up with judges. That's it. That's what you get. You just got judges.
I mean,
which is good to get judges.
Is he appointing people? I mean, I guess he's appointing people. Like, I haven't even. Okay, but that's the nature of federal judges, is that they're permanent. That's not because Joe Biden really put his foot down.
That's like the only one. I mean, that's what it was. I mean, that's what you want to ask. What did Trump do? He had 4 years. He had unitary government 2 years. Like, what did he do with it? Well, he passed some tax cuts, and then he got judges, and that's it.
Right. So
in terms of like permanence, he locked down the Supreme Court for a generation.
And even FDR, if you want to talk about the judicial branch, those conservatives started to try to like check his policies, and he was like, "Okay, you want a handful of more Supreme Court justices? Try me. I'm gonna pack this." And they backed off, and now we have a social safety net. Let's see Biden do it. Let's see Biden pack the court. Like, you can start calling yourself FDR when you have a slate of policies so progressive that the only that actually get passed, that the only thing Republicans can do is try to overturn them in the Supreme Court, and you pack that.
God, that's really, I'm thinking about that, and that's really depressing, because even if you were able to get over the filibuster, like, clear all of these hurdles and actually pass substantive legislation, like, the PRO Act is just going to get struck down by the Supreme Court.
And it happened to Jane's point, it happened to FDR a little. It happened to those New Deal policies a little bit too. You had the NLRB, and then 2 seconds later you had Taft-Hartley, and a bunch of the good stuff got gone. What happens, but at least we were starting from a place of a fight. Joe Biden, like, it's just crazy to me to think there are all these layers. I'm not being alarmist. I'm not being anti-Biden, but the the discourse is keeping the people down here. Oh, I got federal employees get a $15 like, they're like down here in the level of discourse, and the fight is requiring orders of magnitude up here. Like, we got to get rid of the filibuster. We got to pack the court. We got, like, there are like there are like 5 once in a century changes that have to happen to get anything substantial that meets the moment done today. And we're having conversations about how great it is that Joe Biden extended the pause on student debt relief till September.
Well, I tell you, I mean, that's the discourse, which isn't great. But you know what? I'll give you a little cheat sheet here. Having been a participant in the discourse for longer than you have, this is my heuristic for determining whether someone's opinion is worth listening to. One, did you support Bernie in the 2020 primaries? If the answer is no, then I don't care about your opinion. It's objectively useless. Like, that's it forever. That's it. That was pretty straightforward to me. I don't care if you had a, if you had a come to Jesus moment. I don't really give a shit. If you weren't there from the beginning, then you're a dumb baby.
Do you really feel that way, Virgil? I mean, I get the frustration.
Big time. Yep, big time.
But there's so many people who are just so, and I don't mean this in a patronizing way. I just mean this in like the purest definition of the word, just ignorant of what was going on. Like,
if you're like a child, like a literal child, then yeah, fine. That's okay. But if you're a child, you shouldn't be participating in the discourse. Sorry.
90% of Americans don't start paying attention to a presidential race until the primary is already over.
I'm saying if you had a pick, I'm saying if you had a pick, if you're one of the people who were like, I'm for blank, out of that pool, if you were for someone who's not Bernie and you're a discourse participant, then go fuck yourself.
Okay. If you're a discourse participant,
if you're just like a random guy who's like, oh, I don't know, I like Bill de Blasio, it's like, all right, whatever, I don't care.
Hey, he was the third best one.
You saw like a picture of him on TV or something. I don't give a shit.
Maybe the fourth best one.
But if you're someone who like actively campaign for another candidate, and the only dispensation I'll give, is if you're one of those people who was like, Bernie or Warren. I still think that's lame, but there are a lot of people I respect who, mostly on the older end, who took that stance. I'm like, fine, okay.
See, those people irritate me more. I thought you were going to say maybe like, I like Marianne. I can get down with that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's another dispensation. Fine. But she did drop out before Iowa. So at some point you have to take your pick. And she did endorse Bernie. So.
I don't know, man. The Bernie, the Warren, like I said at the top of this, I came into 2020 saying I was going to be very compassionate toward Warren people. And I have like personal animus toward Warren people. But I got to say, it seemed always very clear who she was to me. And just even without that, even without the Native American stuff, which I'm sorry, I cannot believe that all of these people not only ignored, but then had the audacity to act like Bernie was the one with the people of color problem.
Yeah.
That was the hypocrisy. This woman, I'm sorry, like I'm sure she's a really nice lady. I have friends who had her in law school who love her. She's a obviously brilliant woman, a great professor, has done relevant scholarship on bankruptcy, and I'm not trying to take any of that away from her.
She wrote the plans that are saving America, and she gave it to us.
But you only get to have one president at a time in the United States of America. Only, 40-odd people have had this job so far in the history of the world. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say, if you not only advanced yourself as a race that you weren't, but then doubled down on it when called out on it and produced a 5-minute video in which you got Black Harvard professors to vouch for you that you weren't hired on the basis of affirmative action because you were actually qualified, unlike all those other POCs apparently. That's it for me. I hope you have a long career. I hope you help the country and do public service in other ways forever. But president, it's a no vote for me.
I mean, the thing that I relate to the most is her lying to get a job. Like, I get that. Don't get me wrong. I think it's funny the extent that she maintained the lie to writing a fucking cookbook of Native American recipes. Like, okay, that's weird. Because if you just called Pow Wow Chow,
there it is.
Because if you had just left it as, all right, I just lied on a fucking application form, that's one thing. But you were like actively presenting yourself as Native American, like in the public discourse for like 2 decades. Like, okay, there's kind of ballsiness that I
talked to her about this. I talked to her. So here's a scoop. People will love this.
Ooh.
When I was
All right. Breaking news.
when I was at The Intercept, I wrote an article about because she came out with that video in the fall of 2000 after she announced kind of early in the fall of 2019. She released this video that was supposed to be like rehabilitating her whole Native American kerfuffle, and it was horrible. Like, it made everything so much worse. It was her and all of her white siblings sitting around saying, this is just the story that Meemaw told us, and it's just the most incredible thing. As a Black person who has plenty of stories about Native American ancestry and actual documentation of actual Native American people who are not far back in my family tree, I would never pass myself off as Native American. Like, I have actual, like, but that doesn't make me Native American. Because my great grandmother was half Native, like, that doesn't make me Native American. Yeah, okay, so anyway, so I wrote an article about this, and it was kind of dispassionate. I thought it was fair. I wrote an article. My boss at the time, Ryan Grimm, set it up after I wrote that article for me and a couple of other journalists to go. We had like a meeting with. Like an off the record conversation. It wasn't like off the record, but like just an informal meeting with her. And it felt like on some level, we talked, there were like 4 or 5 of us there, but half the time we spent there, it was just me and her talking about the Native American stuff. And I very kindly, because I have no hostility toward her as a person, I very kindly and kind of gently tried to get her to understand why it was a problem. Okay. Why it was that representing herself as Native American and all of these applications, it wasn't just once, right? It was all of these different jobs. The Harvard Crimson had written her up as Harvard's first person of color hire. Remember, Derek Bell and students had staged a protest like 2 years before she was formally hired. And Derek Bell, who was like one of the only Black faculty members, was like basically forced out of campus and like quit over the campus's failure to hire faculty of color. So this was a huge issue on campus. And all that happened when she was, I think, a adjunct professor. Then she was hired full time like a year or two after Derek Bell left. At that point, the Harvard Crimson, the school newspaper, wrote her up as the first person of color hire because it was such an issue on campus. So the idea that she didn't understand that she was being marketed that way and how false that was at the time, it strains credulity. It's not possible.
Well, of course, famously, her response was in late 2018, there was this Boston Globe article about she gave an exclusive Boston Globe about how she took a DNA test and she's 1/50th Native American or some crap like that. And it was such an embarrassment. And here's something crazy. And I think it was I forget who pointed this out. You can't find that video anywhere.
You can't find that video. I have it. I know where it is. I have it. And someone downloaded it for me.
Put that shit on LiveLeak.
I will find it on my computer and post it. But the thing about the Boston Globe article, she holds that out as though it's exculpatory. When you ask her, like when she was writing and she was like, the Boston Globe cleared me of all accusations that I lied about my race to get ahead. Like that article is pretty damning, but she holds it out as though it is rehabilitative for her.
One note to the chat, Matt Horman says Powwow Chow had crab recipes, even though Oklahoma's a landlocked state. Oklahoma does have crabs. They're called horseshoe crabs. So
can you eat those?
Matt. Yeah, you can eat those. They're gross, but you can eat them.
Do they taste like the Paleolithic era?
No, they just taste like weird, gross seafood. I don't know. Seafood's all the same. It's all the same. It all tastes the same.
Do you not like seafood?
I like it. It's just all, it's all the same. It's all just weird stuff. It's just like monsters that you're eating. It's fine.
That is not.
Yeah, they're all monsters.
Crab is like.
It's a monster.
Shrimp is like sea roaches.
They're all monsters.
Crab is
a roach is a monster.
Just top tier.
If you met a crab that was very large, would you think, oh, this is normal or this is monster?
No, that's just a spider and you gotta kill it with fire, but then you eat it.
That's a monster.
But
it's fine, you can eat it, but it's you're eating monster, which is fine. I'm just letting you know. But we're not saying anything in conflict here. Because if I saw a dog that was like this size of a car, I'd be like, oh, that's cute. It's interesting. But if I saw any animal the size of a car outside of maybe a whale or a dolphin, I would think, oh, that's horrifying. That's a terrible monster. Get it, get it out of here.
Have you seen? I'm gonna put it in the chat. I haven't been doing very much. Like, oh wait, I don't want this to be a video. I just want to show an image of this thing. I just want. Oh, here we go.
Is it a
Reddit.
monster?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Let's see it.
I'm gonna.
I gotta grab a drink. Let me be right back.
Wait. I'm gonna share a screen. I'm gonna share a screen, and it's gonna be a window, and it's gonna be this window. And I'm gonna share it, and it is not loading. Oh, there it goes. Do you see this?
Oh yeah, I've seen those bad boys. Yeah, yeah, monster.
This is horrifying.
I mean, I would own one, but I'm a strange person.
What are you going to do with this? Where are you going to put this in your apartment?
I got the side room. I got the office. if the IRS asks, that's being used right now.
Okay.
But to the IRS, it's an office that's tax deductible. But to you and me, that's a crab room.
Anyway, I don't know how we got on this whole thing about Elizabeth Warren. Are people having questions?
Oh yeah, I think people are having some damn questions. Let me go. Let's go back to the questions.
We got to give our subscribers the benefit of their subscription by really targeting those Discord questions.
Getting a lot of comments here that are not questions. Get some Wi-Fi light bulbs. I don't want the internet running.
People are really loving your look today, Virgil.
Oh, are they? How do you know?
What people are saying.
What are they saying?
They're saying Virgil looks super sexy today, and
oh well, come on.
The same comments about John Lennon's child and all that.
Okay. Dubert, I'll take this one. Dubert asks, actual real question: is it a 6-member House majority or a 2-member? It's both.
Why is it both, Virgil?
Because the Democrats have 6-odd majority over the Republicans, but in terms of a pure majority, 218 votes, they're about 2 votes above that.
Wait, what? I'm sorry, I don't understand.
So there's a lot of vacancies in the House. So as of right now, and there's 435 House seats. So a pure majority in the House is 218 votes. But to pass anything, you just need a majority of those present, which the Democrats have 6 votes over about 6 votes over the Republicans. I know there was a special election recently, and there's another resignation, all this shit. It moves around. But in terms of right now, in terms of a pure majority, they're at like 220, 221, something like that. So
okay.
So there's your answer.
I was confused by that when Abby Phillips asked it as 2.
This is a comment from Unconsolidated Regolith. If you were already synced with Discord before the server went live, you have to disconnect Patreon from Discord and reconnect to get in. That's not true. That is not true. Because a lot of people, it worked for a lot of people. So shame on you for spreading fake news and misinformation. But if it's not working for you, then yeah, actually do what that person says and disconnect it and reconnect. I don't know if you want this one, Bree. This from TV Rec question: How do we pass the PRO Act? Is it even possible at this point with a filibuster? Can the progressives decide not to vote for the infrastructure bill unless Biden pressures conservative Dems to remove the filibuster?
I just want to say this up top. This isn't the top. I want to say this toward the end.
Okay.
I never want to hold myself out as a know-it-all or a legislative expert or anyone with any expertise. My only expertise and value is that I have the privilege. Well, obviously, but that I have the privilege of this being my day job and be able to read the articles and keep up with the discourse and be online all the time and get the information in a volume that maybe someone who has an actual life isn't able to do. But what I do when I have a question is I ask someone like David Sirota, David Dayen, like I poke somebody on the campaign and vet an idea.
No, not me.
You're
just asking anyone but me.
I obviously talked to you about it on the podcast. We have guests on to explain things to me. But I'm not trying to pretend to know things that other people don't know. But I have found, perhaps because I'm coming from an outsider perspective, like people I love, I'm very fond of, like Jen Briney, I'm reading things for analytical consistency. That's all I can do. Is I think I have an above average analytical brain, even if I don't have the same knowledge basis of other people. And I'm looking for tension points and holes, right? Vulnerabilities. And that's why this PROACT thing, I'm not trying to be antagonistic, but the PROACT thing came across my eye line, and it just, I don't see it. Maybe there's activism that's happening with a bunch of Republicans that I don't know about, and they're actually going to vote for it. And I hope that I'm wrong, and I will be happy to have that egg on my face, because the PROACT is great and we should have it.
It is
But
great. It can, yeah.
I don't see it.
It contains a number of not card check, but a number of very, very valuable, important reforms that would start to push the pendulum away from management, where it's been completely stuck for decades.
Also, what happened with card check?
They took card check out. Card check is not part of this. There's a version of card check in this where the long and the short of it is, if you have the election and you lose the election, like they did in Bessemer, and you go to the NLRB and said, well, hey, the employer did illegal shit in this election. PROACT, if the PROACT were enforced, the NLRB rules in favor of the organizers, then they say, okay, we're going to do it. Then you can just do card check. If at that point, okay, your employer did something, which they do in every single one, unless they're voluntarily recognizing a union, okay, they're gonna fucking skirt the fucking law on this shit. Then round 2 is card check. So
right, but my question is, how did card check get removed? Because if you read all of the articles about the PROACT leading up to this point, they emphasize that one of the most important aspects of it is card check, and that was true of Bernie's enormous, amazing labor policy when we were on the campaign. And then suddenly it's like card check is even in it, and I saw like nothing about it.
I couldn't tell you. I mean, I think maybe my guess is maybe organized labor, they're committed to a new political strategy now that's different from the strategy from 10 years ago under Obama.
Okay, I'm going to share. Sorry, go ahead.
Where they saw, okay, well, even with the big Democrat supermajority, we couldn't get card check, so they're making, a series of different asks, demands that do not involve full card check, but are still substantially important for organized labor. And also, I imagine that they are focused on a new reality where, the economy is substantially different from what it was 12 years ago. For instance, one of the provisions of the PROACT is to make national this piece of legislation in California that regarding independent contractors and how, in the gig economy, people are working 40, 50, 60-hour weeks. It's Lyft drivers and Uber drivers and DoorDash delivery people and shit. And they're being treated as independent contractors and not getting health insurance, not getting benefits, not getting disability or any shit like that. And that's something that the PROACT would shut down. So, not getting too far in the weeds about it, it is an important piece of legislation. And, I want to clarify this point. I welcome the activism for the PROACT. What I've read, hundreds of thousands of calls, texts made by the DSA for organized labor for the point of passing the PROACT, and I especially welcome this new alliance between organized labor and the largest socialist organization in the country. And I don't believe that it undercuts that alliance or that goal, to be honest about the actual prospects of it passing. I intuit that, and this is in the absence of someone coming to tell us otherwise, but I intuit that this is part of a larger play on the point of the leadership of organized labor in this country to attempt to piece by piece transform the Democratic Party into something resembling a Labor Party by drawing red lines over things like the PROACT. And in doing so, hopefully erode the power of management, the power of capitalists in dictating what is possible when Democrats are in power. But, I don't want to, I would not deceive anyone here and say that, well, it's going to be possible to pass this thing in the next 2 years, which Jane McElvey, agrees when she came on her show and said, okay, well, I'm thinking in terms of when, shit happened during the FDR administration. It did, the NLRA did not happen in 1933. So that's pretty much my thoughts on the matter.
Funny, I can't even find anything about card check being removed. Like, are we?
I don't think it was ever. I couldn't tell you who wrote the PRO Act. I don't think it was ever a part of it.
No, all of these articles talk about card check being a part of it.
Well, I mean, are they talking about card check in the way that I just said, or they mean like full?
February 18th, 2021. In these times, card check, which makes forming a union faster and easier for workers, is the centerpiece of the PRO Act.
To my knowledge, that is not true. But I don't know if someone wants to go to the legislation and quote it to me, be my guest. But that's not what I've read. What I've read is what I just said. That full card check, which was passed by the House, I think twice, in 2007, 2009, and had 51 votes in 2007 in the Senate.
What are the prospects for card check under the Biden administration? Now that Democrats control the Senate, they're actually pretty good. Joe Biden was a sponsor of the original EFCA and supports its successor, the PRO Act, which passed the House in 2020. Biden's labor platform also includes some "that'd be cool if it really happens" points, such as holding company executives personally liable when they interfere with organizing efforts. None of that paragraph said anything about card check.
To my knowledge, management is calling that card check in their messaging against the PRO Act. That, again, most of these employers are actually violating the NLRA. They are actually violating the law in the ways that they win these union elections, as we saw in Bessemer. And under the PRO Act, that would revert to card check. And so management is calling that card check, which... I don't know. I mean, it's really up to you whether you want to think that's card check, but it's not the same in the original legislation that was mooted in the late Bush and early Obama administration.
If people don't want the left to be distrustful, everything shouldn't be a cloak and dagger situation. Like, who is this being backdoored for? Who is this being hidden from? Who needs the plausible deniability if they're not just being card check regular schmegular style? I don't know, man. It's like you don't want people to be paranoid. You don't want people to be alarmist. You don't want people to be talking about frauds and sellouts and stuff. Okay, try being a little more opaque, like a little less opaque. A little transparency goes a long way. This stuff is it. I was talking to a reporter today who's writing this long thing. It's not important, but people have a prurient interest in the division on the left, and I don't want to feed it. And I was trying to put it into context by talking about the fact that it's like, I understand why there's so much venom, and part of it is that something like force the vote could have been diffused if Congress members were transparent about an alternative plan. We were begging them, okay, just tell us what the alternative game plan is. But when instead of like an alternative plan of attack is described, or instead of being honest about what they feel like their political limitations are, or how they've been threatened, or instead of just staying silent, there's misdirection. Oh, we got to save our political capital for the fight for 15. Oh, we're going to use the exact same argument justifying fighting for impeachment that we said was a silly argument when we were talking about force the vote. AOC jumping in some of those Twitter fights the way that she did brought attention to her that some of those other squad members, they didn't get that heat because they didn't put themselves in there and start saying things that felt like misdirection. Doing these interviews, like Rashida Tlaib did, where she 3 weeks after the fact is still parroting the lie about Kevin McCarthy becoming Speaker of the House. That's where all of the suspicion and like frustration is coming from. It's not just, at that point, it's not just a disagreement about tactics. It's a feeling that you've been misled. And so I would say to people who want to bring the left together, and I would say to congressional members, Ro Khanna says he watches our show, who are concerned about how to reconstitute the left and get their donation coffers full again from a bunch of disaffected leftists, it would be to stop playing cloak and dagger with all of this stuff. Because that's what feels different from the squad of 2018. This just, none of this none of this passes the smell test.
Well, there's an overall strategic
Sorry,
disagreement.
Jayapal, not sleep. You're right. I misspoke. Sorry, go ahead.
There's an overall strategic disagreement there, which is the propriety of working within the Democratic Party when a lot of the people who help power these DSA campaigns to the U.S. Congress are adamantly opposed to that. And as well, there's a tension over...
Well, it's not a DSA campaign. They were Justice Democrat campaigns.
Well, I mean, Cori Bush is a DSA member.
I mean, DSA endorses people, but these were campaigns run.
She's an actual member. She's an actual person. So you ask her if she's a socialist, she's gonna say yes.
So say it's AOC, but she was she was chosen and run by the Justice Democrats. I think that's an important distinction, because you have the co-founder of Justice Democrats telling people that this was the purpose of recruiting, fundraising for, and running these candidates was for them to be adversarial. And they're betraying that commitment. And the DSA as an organization is taking a different posture with respect to these people. And I don't think it's useful to erase that these are, like, there was an ideological motivator to even finding these people and running them and fundraising for them. And that was Justice Democrats defined, as opposed to DSA, which is a much larger, less politically ideological organization.
Are you saying that AOC should be accountable to Justice Democrats?
Well, I think that she should be accountable to both, except that I don't think that the DSA, my observation is that the DSA, I will be surprised if the DSA ever attempts to hold her accountable to anything. It feels like there's, I say this as a DSA member, but it feels like there's an investment in her being a socialist and being kind of good for the DSA, more so than a desire to have the organization come and its ideals come first, and for the DSA to wag the tail of the congressperson as opposed to the other way around, as I said on our last episode.
I mean, I agree. I think it's alienating that all of these feelings are put into a handful of politicians who are not actually national politicians. And after the end of the Bernie campaign, there's no consensus national leader of what we're going to call the left anti-capitalist movement in this country, which is again dispersed among a variety of groups and tendencies. Hang on, let me just find the right words on this one. I think that what you're describing is reflective of a greater tension, which is, okay, what should the socialist posture be in 2021? Should it be working within the Democratic coalition, which does hold the power right now, in order to attempt to pass some big legislation or attempt to influence some legislation that's going to pass, or should it be opposition?
It's not an inside-outside strategy. Those are not choices. It has to be both. Obviously, a bunch of people with like flags standing outside of the White House have less power than someone who's a congresswoman in the White House, who has less power than a congresswoman in the White House who's working in tandem with the people with flags who can cause a ruckus. Like, this is not a binary choice. And the whole point is, like, this argument is getting framed as you're against the insiders, you're against the squad. No, I want the squad to realize that the only power they really have as quote unquote insiders aren't to try to outmaneuver Pelosi. You're not outmaneuvering Pelosi. It's never going to happen. Pelosi has been aggregating power to herself for 30 years, and people owe her favors, the likes of which you'll never begin to be able to overcome. She has more money and more power and more context and more wealth than anybody in Congress, and a bunch of little socialists aren't going to change that. But don't despair. Don't freak out. Don't be sad, because what Nancy Pelosi doesn't have is the people and the court of public opinion and millions of dollars of small dollar donations that decouple them entirely from being responsible to this corporate machine that everybody else has been beholden to.
Mm.
That's the whole point. And what's so frustrating is not that anybody hate, like, I don't hate AOC. I don't have any feelings about any of these people. They're not my friends, but that they are holding this enormous wealth of power that they earned in the goodwill of millions of people. No, they aren't national politicians, but they benefited from national goodwill and national campaigns and national fundraising efforts to get where they are. And so they don't have to give a crap about that. They can say, all I care about my constituents and I'm going to keep my head down and do that. That's fine. But they don't at the same time get to enjoy the benefit of being kept on the pedestal that this national audience put them on. So they got to make a choice. And I think that they should choose not to forego the power that comes from that national audience. They shouldn't court the national audience just because it's nice for people to love you and to be on the cover of magazines. They should do it because that represents real power in terms of campaign dollars and ability to mobilize. And also, yes, to organize, to Jane's point. And that they don't realize that they think that, oh, we got to choose inside, outside, or if we play nice and keep our heads down. Did you see this new article, this book, Nancy Pelosi's book that has apparently a whole chapter about how she's subdued the squad?
I think that's a book about Nancy Pelosi.
About, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
I did. I saw that.
You know, like.
It's pretty funny. If you want to read that.
That's what it is. That's what you're up against. Yeah. So do you want to be with us or you don't want to keep getting, cucked by Nancy Pelosi?
It's well put. Well put. You want to move on to another question?
Sure.
You want to see? I'm gonna be a little. There's a lot of them actually, so I'm just gonna scroll through and try to find one here. Blah blah blah. I'm at the point where I don't want to read like long sentences. GOP is scarce. Comment. Virgil doesn't think women can be firefighters. That's a comment, and that's not true. I support female firefighters. I think that we need more diverse firefighters. Play GeoGuessr. Okay, I think we should. I think we should close on it. Could y'all get Thomas Piketty on the podcast? Yeah, we asked him, and he said he was busy, but later.
Yeah, later this year, he said.
Later, but also we will only have him on if you personally read both of his 1,000-page books and give us a Cliff's Notes on it. That's all. I was actually thinking about this earlier today because I did not read Capital in the 21st century, but I got the gist of it. So I'm not going to read it.
It's very big. I've been reading up a storm because of audiobooks. Like audiobooks have unlocked the power of my podcast consumption.
Did you read the Sarah Schulman book I recommended?
No. When did you recommend this? What's this?
Like a week ago. Okay, well, that's just a suggestion there.
You got to send it to me in like a link.
Send the Audible. It's Audible. The Audible Sarah Schulman link. Okay, I can do that. Okay, so I got work. Let's see.
It's hot, isn't it?
I told you it's hot. I
got all worked up, I think, and now I'm a little verklempt.
Difference between Warren and Bernie is staggering. I agree, but that's not a question. So come on, folks, let's do a little better here. I think we ended up like not taking questions for a while, and they didn't ask questions. Cats are greater than dogs. Yeah, I agree, but still not a question.
Oh, Jesus.
Dogs are being posted. This is all like I'm scrolling through what was basically these are basically comments from an hour ago. Blah blah blah. Da da da. You know what? I'm just gonna say if you got a question, like just post it now. Are the GOP really that out and out anti-union? That's a good question, Case Man. The answer is yes. Thanks. Let's see. Something. I'm less hopeful than Virgil. Okay. Something got coffee. How does the DSA hold its people accountable? Very carefully. I don't know. You tell me. Still scrolling. Book club challenge. Oh yeah, people have said they want to start a book club. I support that endeavor in the Discord. I think you should start a book club.
Well, no, because people who would probably also call me an elitist are saying things like, if you listen to a book, it doesn't count as reading, which is
true,
problematic on a lot of different levels, but also is the kind of comment that if you say it to me on Twitter, I'm gonna mute you.
How's it problematic?
letting you know.
How's it
Because
problematic?
people,
Is it
first of all,
discriminatory to blind
yeah,
people?
there's people who
Braille.
actually have trouble with traditional reading, and the fact the rise of audiobooks is actually enormously beneficial. My prospective book agent says that everybody in the industry just listens to stuff now anyway, and that some people say that's the purest form of listening, of like consuming a book, because you're actually hearing it in the author's voice. There's people who make the argument that like historically people have sat and read books to each other out loud
I'm gonna
in
yell.
groups in front
I'm
of the
about to yell.
fireplace, Jane
about to yell.
Austen,
About to
Bronte
yell.
sister style, and that's a thing. I once spent a very romantic weekend reading the entirety of that Updike Marry Me. I thought it was going to be romantic. It actually ends terribly. But we read it out loud to each other.
It's not romantic in the slightest.
It's not romantic in the slightest, but it was fun to read out loud to each other, because when you're reading out loud, unlike an audiobook, you can't stop and opine without it being a big brouhaha. And I have always loved being read to. My mom read to us a lot when we were little kids. She read Old Yeller to us, and my dad came home, and the three of us were in bed just sobbing uncontrollably. And he's like, "What happened?" Old Yeller happened.
So reading is a kind of age regression.
Reading out loud is great.
I agree with you. I think some things are certainly meant to be read out loud. Poetry, for instance. But as well, there's a kind of communion that one experiences when they interact with the written word. There's a process of decoding that is simply not the same when you have something read to you.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't see, look, first of all, the options are I'm going to read it audible or I'm not reading at all. So this idea that like, no, because I'm a person on the internet that has weird, arrogant, pompous feelings about real reading. I'm sorry. Let me be honest with you right now, Virgil.
Yep.
There was a time in my life where I would have pretended to not do audiobooks and bought into this weird shame game, but I have had enough degrees and accomplished enough in my life that I don't feel like I need these ridiculous totems to feel like a smart person.
You
and
don't
if
have to
you feel
impress
like you need
people
to
at parties.
read books and trash on audiobooks as a part of your self-esteem, that's a you problem. And you do you, and whatever makes you feel good, but don't put that baggage on me, because I know I can read.
I'm not trashing anyone. I'm not trashing anyone.
You know,
I'm not trashing anyone.
I've read enough books. I've read enough books the old-fashioned way. I'm good on my book quota. For
honestly, I'm honestly with you, but in a different sense that
okay.
I've learned enough. I need to take a
break too. I'm sweaty and my drink has been out for like 30 minutes. I'm just gonna leave me here with these nincompoops. What should we talk about while Virgil's gone? Should we watch some videos? That's what Katie tends to do.
Yeah, put over. I just
yeah, go. You're fine. Just mute yourself because nobody wants to hear you do your business. All right. I think you're muted. I can't hear you. You're just talking into the void. Okay. All right. So are you guys caught up with our latest? What did you guys think of the Jane McAlevey episode and also the ContraPoints episode? I was curious how you guys were going to handle that, how you guys were going to internalize that bad boy. Let me go to a repository of clips and things. You love ContraPoints episode? Yeah, I thought Virgil often wants to do these more contemplative episodes where there's more vibes and we have more intimate conversations. And this was definitely one of those. This happens often. This is one of those times where we had like an hour-long conversation. We cut the tape and then we ended up talking to her for like another hour. And of course, that next hour is like the best conversation, but we'll definitely have her back and get into a bunch of other stuff. Play Breeze CBS segment. I feel like a little narcissistic doing that. I mean, if I get like a second and a third, I'll do it. But otherwise, I'm not going to play that. I did just do a hit with Mark Lamont Hill tonight. I could play that, I guess. Let's see. Sorry, I don't know how he so seamlessly controls the backlog while at the same time. Okay, all right. Okay, play it. My God. I have to find it. Where do I find it? The whole thing or just like the clip that I put on YouTube? Okay, 1 second. Okay. Videos, news, what progressives think of Biden's first 100 days. That's going to be an ad. Shoot, where's the YouTube version? Okay, you just go to YouTube and Google your name. You're not an amateur. You know how to do this. You're not an amateur. Thank you. You guys are sweet. I appreciate you. You know, I still get very nervous for those kind of live hits. It doesn't honestly get any easier with time, especially when you know it's going to be kind of fundamentally adversarial and you're a little bit being set up, it feels like, all the time to fail. Okay, here we go.
Joint session of Congress tomorrow night. The speech comes as he is nearing the mark of his first 100 days in office.
Can you guys hear that?
Traditional address to Congress earlier in the year. The White House
thumbs up. Can you hear the
Senator Tim Scott will give the Republican response.
Can someone just confirm that you can hear that sound?
As questions are raised as to what Republicans and
just one comment telling me yes, I can hear that. Okay, thank you.
I want to bring in Joel Payne and Brianna Joy Gray now. Joel is a CBS News political contributor and Democrat strategist. Brianna is a former national press secretary for Bernie Sanders' 2020 presidential campaign and the co-host of the Bad Faith podcast. Welcome to both of you. Great to have you with us.
Hey, I'm back.
Oh, no, you can't hear it. Someone says you can hear it. Someone says you can't hear it.
You can hear it, but it's very low. See, I'm a great compromiser. Kind of guy they could use in the Senate right now.
I don't know how to. It's maximum. I don't know, guys. I don't know how to turn it up. I don't.
Are you playing them a video of yourself on CBS?
That's what they asked for. Oh, wait, I think I have
what I come back to.
That's what they asked for. I have a downloaded version, but I think it might just be the clip that I used to embed it on Twitter. Guys, this is like stressful. This is like I need to produce. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna play it from. Well, you're back now. Also, no, this is just the clip. Yeah. You're back now. Yeah. You guys know where it lives. I don't. Okay.
Yeah, just go. Brianna tweeted it. Just go there. I don't know why you're demanding that she do all this crap on the stream.
Drag the link into VLC player to turn the volume. Okay, that's
like
good.
What did you want to happen, viewers? You wanted her to play herself and then comment on her own video clip?
This was a thing. I used to work on a. You know what? I'm not prepared to talk about this, but I used to work.
Not talking about that shit.
I worked when I was a lawyer. There was it was for the mayoral race, I guess. Was it a mayoral race? I guess so. It was so long ago. I guess this is like 2012. Does that sound right? When did Bloomberg get gone? When did he end his term?
2013.
Okay, maybe it was 2013. I was still at that firm, my first firm. And there was an election law department, and we were representing, I don't even remember which party. The issue was that Christine Quinn had a radio show or something.
Disgusting.
And there were some fairness doctrine concerns. And I remember having to do some legal research on behalf of our candidate and equal time rules. And I remember having done it. I just don't remember anything about it.
The fairness doctrine, I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I don't want to open the door to anything that's like, we've got to be fair and balanced on the show. I like to think we're already pretty fair and balanced. Like we've had some Warren creeps on and
stop.
Yeah.
No, that's not. No, it's about, well, the issue that we were researching is the idea that it was an issue for Trump too. If you have a show, if a network literally gives time to a candidate as opposed to coverage of the candidate, if they literally allow the candidate because they have a TV show or a radio show or something where they get to host time, they have to offer up for free commensurate time to the alternative candidates.
Interesting point there. You remember when Donald Trump went on SNL in 2015, right?
Yeah.
Right, because it was funny and we all enjoyed it. That actually triggered a fairness auction rule where the other Republican campaigns, and there was like 12 of them, they could demand equal time from NBC in the form of an advertisement. And to my knowledge, about 3 of the campaigns actually took him up on that.
Did it work?
Did it work? Well, I don't think Mike Huckabee was elected president in 2016.
God.
So
Remember Mike
no,
Huckabee?
yeah, I do. I'm blocked by him on Twitter, so I can't see his japes and jabs. He's one of the he's one of the more interesting characters who's developed a public platform by running for president. I've been thinking about it. You know how there was like 30 people who ran for president last time around, right?
Mhm.
There were like 30 Democrats. And I'm trying to think of like who came out the best. Because they're running for president now, like that's something you make money, you get like build a platform. I'm trying to think of like who won by losing.
Andrew Yang.
Andrew Yang.
In terms of where you started, where you ended, Andrew Yang.
Yep. He's best positioned to be mayor of New York City right now. Marianne, who has a podcast now, so has reached the apex of human society.
But the where you started, where you ended with her isn't so clear because people, politicos didn't necessarily know her, but she was enormously popular as an author, New York Times bestseller. I know, Virgil, you were also a New York Times bestseller. You don't
Yes, fellow New York Times bestseller, Marianne Williamson.
So I think that I would say not Marianne compared to some of the others because her where you started was just a lot higher. Not in the political realm, but in these other contexts.
I think that for Marianne, like her benefit was she reached a new younger audience because she's someone whose like the height of her popularity was the 1990s and was with people of a certain generation. And nobody like our age would know who Marianne is had it not been for this race.
Sure, but I still think, she was a very successful multimillionaire author.
Very successful,
no question. So I don't know. I think that in terms
that's
of
more of a lateral move.
It's more of a lateral.
A few other ones. Tim Ryan, I believe, is going to be running for Senate in Ohio. Probably going to lose. Might win.
No.
If
anything, I have nothing but negative memories. I can barely remember which one is which. Bennett. There were like 3 with the same haircut.
Michael Bennett is
he the one that lived?
No, Tim Ryan. Okay, he actually is one of the more fascinating stories. He is the congressman who represents Youngstown, Ohio, right? Like your classic post-industrial, destroyed by the decline of American manufacturing and outsourcing and all of that shit community. And his predecessor was, sorry, kind of blanking on the name because I'm drinking PBR now. It makes me forget names.
I want a refill, and also I'm just dehydrated, and I'm just
have a refill. I'll just tell the story to the audience. Okay, well now we're both getting weird. His predecessor was. Someone just tell me in the goddamn audience.
I can hear you.
In the goddamn chat, where you can hear me. His predecessor was a famous crank who was a Democratic member of Congress for a long time, whose name I'm forgetting. I keep thinking it was, you know what? I'm just going to look it up. Thanks for nothing, chat. Oh, God. Thank you. Fine. All right. His predecessor was James Traficant, who was a baffling man. He had this gray pompadour, and he had basically like he would vote with Republicans a lot during the 1990s. Like he had like a weird right-wing streak. For a guy who like positioned himself as like this kind of like working class white ethnic hero. He also had very strange obsessions. One was proving that this Polish guy, Demanchuk, I think, who was accused of being this like he championed that guy's cause and said like, no, that was just a different guy at the concentration camp. He wasn't like the worst guy. And it was something like, it was like only him and Pat Buchanan supported. He also, and you'll like this, Bree, you'll like this. He also would give these speeches on the House floor where he would end every speech with, "Beam me up, Mr. Speaker," because he was a big Star Trek guy.
Beam me up, Mr. Who?
Mr. Speaker. Say that on the House floor. Anyway, that's Jim Traffic in Youngstown, Ohio. He went down in this big corruption scandal and was expelled from the House. Went to prison. Ran for his old seat from after he got out of prison. Lost. Tim Ryan worked for him. I think Tim Ryan was his chief of staff, and then a special election to replace him, Tim Ryan got elected. Tim Ryan is also a weird guy because he's like this. He's like a crunchy, like yoga guy. He wrote books on like yoga, vegan bullshit.
How do I not know that? How did that not come out as part of a persona that differentiated him from every other like 45-year-old white dude in the race?
That's because you don't subscribe to my newsletter, the Virgil Texas Report.
Did you have a newsletter, Virgil?
I'm actually going to start one. I've decided I'm going to start a newsletter.
I mean, these Substacks are going so well. I'm a little like offended that nobody's made us an offer. I used to be a journalist.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put on, suit and tie, head on over to Substack and just demand a Substack. Like just one for me, please. You're giving it to all these people. Giving it to these weird transphobes. Like, you can give me one.
Liz had tweeted, like, if you can pay me this amount of money, I'll do your Substack. And I was like, low key, like, I'm like.
So Tim Ryan might join the Senate. What's his name? The guy from Colorado. One of the guys from Colorado is a senator from Colorado now, so he came out pretty well. Everyone
Bennett. That one's Bennett.
That one is
Bennett, who kind of has this flat affect kind of.
Yeah, weird guy. All weirdos.
It seems not. I mean, as much as any of these corporatists can seem nice, like I felt a little bad for that little collection. They're like three guys that all kind of seemed interchangeable and couldn't really land. A couple of them tried to like make a name for themselves by swinging at people during debates, and it was always a little bit sad. No, Hickenlooper. Yeah, Hickenlooper is Colorado. Wait, where's Bennett from? Isn't Bennett also from?
Wait. No, Hickenlooper was governor, and now he's a senator. Bennett was already a senator, and now he continues to be the senator. Okay. So lateral move for him. Bernie, obviously, chair of budget committee, pretty important. Warren, I think, ate shit. I don't see what she got at all. Harris became vice president. Even Klobuchar, I think, like has some accrued more influence in the Senate than Warren has. Also, kind of Booker. I don't really know what he's up to, but I don't really think he became very.
Cory Booker makes me like that one disappoints me because obviously he has his crap. Like no one's sitting here apologizing for Cory Booker, but outside of Bernie and like 25% of Warren, they're all kind of a political void in terms of just political values and stuff. Marianne, obviously, and frankly, I think Bill De Blasio is right up there. Like he's like my third choice in terms of actual policies and what he ran on. But as a person, there's something kind of try hard and dad genes about Cory Booker that makes me root for him. Just interpersonally, I know people are going to drag me for this, whatever. Rosario Dawson, yes. A Bernie bro, yes. Totally love her, obsessed with her.
I respect that. Cory Booker has a cool girlfriend that he can play video games with and read to. All the stuff that you do with your girlfriend.
All the stuff that you do.
Will say, I'm also Bill De Blasio. I mean, I respect how he feels so bad every time his cops beat the shit out of a fucking protester. Like it's, good on him. Thank you, sir.
He should get a reality show. Whose dinner table would you rather see than Bill De Blasio, his radical Black lesbian wife, and their two kids having a conversation about police brutality and their dad, the mayor? That's what it should be called. My dad, the mayor.
My dad, the mayor.
10 out of 10. The Kardashians are going off the air. America needs a new family.
I saw his kid a couple times. I only know the one son, Dante. I didn't know. I think he's got a daughter. Oh, he has a daughter too. Right.
Karia or something like that.
Wasn't his daughter arrested too?
They both had some struggles they've been dealing with a little bit, but that's what makes them so compelling. It's like we're all about these redemption stories.
They're like normal kids. No, I mean, like they're definitely reaping the benefit of their dad's influence. I've seen Dante twice actually.
Why? Where are you hanging out in Dante circles?
Yeah, like I met him at the Standard Hotel. I saw him twice in political contexts. One was when I was at Yale, giving an address to the students at Yale.
Wait, stop. When were you giving an address? Oh, that just reminds me. I never responded to that email
from Yale. Wait, were we requested to do another address at Yale?
Yeah, Yale sent it.
Because I can show you where because I've already been there. I can show you where the good bathrooms are.
Okay.
I saw him like pass by and someone was like, "Oh yeah, that's Bill de Blasio's kid." He was tall. Then I saw him again at the Iowa State Fair where his dad was, and like he was one of the few candidates who had his full fucking family there. And his campaign went nowhere. It's like fucking sub 1%. And that's when I was like, and that's when I was like Bill de Blasio was there, and he's a really tall guy. His wife was there, and she's really short. And their kid Dante was just like there, doing TikTok on his phone, whatever young people are doing, like really bored with the whole situation. And he was also very tall. So there you go.
I have a theory. This is just observation, and I understand there's going to be a lot of counterexamples, but I feel like in my experience, like there's a disproportionate number of tall, biracial, like black-white men in the world. Has that been your observation?
Black, white. I don't know a lot of biracial black, white men. I
get it. You haven't been choosing the same pool on the apps as I have.
Okay. I know one, and he is not tall. He's like my height. He's like
you only know one biracial black, white.
Specifically biracial black, white. Yes. And he's not tall.
I could sit here and name like 12 of them. Barack Obama.
Oh wait, no, I thought you meant in person.
No, I mean I'm not going to name my
TV
friends
and
you don't know, but I'm going to name people that you know.
Okay.
Cord Jefferson, the writer from Watchmen and all that.
I'd never met him. I wouldn't know him from Adam, but
one of the guys from Key and Peele is tall, but just the one.
Key.
Whichever one's the tall one.
Key's the tall one. Peele's the short one. Wait, is Key biracial?
They're both biracial.
Really? I did not know that. I did not. God, I'm learning so much on this stream right now. Well, there you have it, folks. Biracial, black, white, probably tall. Probably tall. If you ever have to bet on it, lean tall.
Sorry, the part I left out is taller than the parents. So taller. So Bill de Blasio is tall. So like that's not completely unexpected that he didn't have a tall kid.
He's like a Frankenstein.
But like taller than you would expect given the genetic inputs is what I often find. This is not a hybrid vigor argument, by the way. I hate that stuff. This is not plaudits. This is not a compliment. It's just a height. I'm not a height queen. Everybody here knows that I embrace a short king. Is Jesse Williams actually tall, Shane W?
Gentlemen, start your engines. If you are 5'6" or above, you have a shot with Brianna Joy Gray. Wait, Jesse Waters?
Waters, the right wing commentator?
Yeah, the white guy who he does the Waters World and he fucking ambushes people when they're on the bus. That dude.
Waters World. He did that super kind of racist Chinatown bit some years back.
I believe you.
Yeah.
What about him?
I don't know. I remember we covered it on my old podcast. He just went around asking people, I don't know, making fun of people's ESL and being a jerk.
Oh yeah, because that's the extent of right wing comedy is just things your racist uncle would find amusing.
Yeah. It was very bad.
Bree, we should play the GeoGuessr game if you want to pull that up. Because you're the one.
You want to keep having this super sophisticated race science conversation?
I think in the future we can get back to some Jesse Waters check-ins, but I've been itching to play GeoGuessr again because I like it when we play games on these streams. We're very good at talking about the issues,
but you don't want to. You don't want to play Type Racer.
I don't want to play cool because we've been over this. It's not
okay,
ergonomic
Virgil.
for me. It's not
I
ergonomic.
understand. I
I would
appreciate
have
a
to do
man.
this. Can you see how weird and unusual this
I
is? I can't do
appreciate
it.
a man who knows when he's beat and doesn't feel like he has to
I'll
keep
play
banging
Type
his head
Racer. I'll play
against
Type
the
Racer
wall.
in person.
Mhm.
When we meet up in person, and it's like, okay, I don't have to worry about the computer. We got like a third party fucking, a tripod with a camera on it. And it's like, okay, great. So I'm just sitting here on my laptop, then I can play it. But this is not ideal gaming circumstances.
Uh-huh.
Just letting you know.
Whatever you say, Virgil.
But I would like to do the GeoGuessr.
All right, set it up. How do I do this again? Send me the link.
Somebody send her the link because I don't know what it is.
Oh my god.
It's like, what do we keep doing? It's like just search GeoGuessr. Yeah, geoguessr.com.
Just drop it in the thing. Last time I was pulling up the wrong thing and you were like, "Oh, you're pulling up the wrong thing."
So yeah, I can play one free game every day. No, there's a free one. Oh, that's right. This happens
Really?
to us every
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fine. GeoGuessr, but free. The thing is, every time somebody in the chat has to tell us. So, like, somebody has to because we're not buying the GeoGuessr Premium. Jesus Christ.
Maybe we should. Maybe someone should subscribe to Bad Faith. How much does it cost?
I don't know.
Is it like a monthly fee? If
think
one
it's
of
like a
you
monthly
subscribes, that will
subscription.
be covering our GeoGuessr fees.
All right. Well, I'm looking through it now. Get lost.
Oh, I had some big news this week.
Me too.
Even though my Twitter account, I think, is still being suppressed, I keep getting new exciting followers. And this week, I became followed by none other than
the machine from Star Trek.
oh my god,
LeVar Burton.
Thank you.
Okay, see, I'm not bad.
I should have my drink out of this, but I've only used it to hold pencils, and it's super gross inside.
I was thinking about it, and yeah, you know what? Screw it. Just buy the GeoGuessr. Yeah, just forget it. Yeah, just buy it. You get a free one, but I think we should just buy it.
Wait a minute. A lot of people on the chat are like, "Oh my god, I had no idea LeVar followed you." That's how I know you don't follow me on Instagram. And look, I think we can all agree that Twitter has its problems, and I'm trying to shift a little bit over to Instagram. I post a lot about the show there. I post the things that are a little too acerbic and off-brand for Twitter, where I think there's journalists following me and I have to be above it all. So what I'm hearing is that a lot of you in the chat don't actually follow me on Instagram, and that's a mistake.
Shame on you.
Also, because even if you follow Bad Faith on Instagram, Bad Faith doesn't have enough followers to do the swipe up feature, but I do. So I tend to put it on my page and then like cross list it to Bad Faith. What I'm saying is you need to follow Bad Faith Instagram. Do it right now. Follow so we can get Bad Faith to 10,000 followers, and then I don't have to use my own account for this.
Follow Brie on Instagram.
What is our wait, first I'm gonna tell them the Bad Faith login, which is is it just at Bad Faith Pod? Yeah, Bad Faith Pod, one word. And then I'm at B as in boy, joy as in happiness, G as in gray.
And also don't follow me on Instagram. It's at Virgil Texas, and don't follow me because it's private and I don't like that sort of thing.
Doesn't like it.
Anyway, so I sent you the link. And you know what? Screw it. Just buy it. Get GeoGuessr Pro. It's like $3 a month. We can afford that.
Are we using our company card? Do we have to find our company card?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Unless you want to pay for it personally, which I don't know. It's clearly a business expense.
Okay. This is ridiculous. This is how the government's going to take us down. They're going to audit us over this.
No, it's clearly for business purposes. Somebody give us $5 and we're all straight here, just like in Breaking Bad. Give me a second. I'll be right back. So
you're going to leave me alone with these people again?
I just need a sec.
Okay, I'm going to put the video back on because I can't. Ooh, let me not show that. I don't want to I can't multitask. It's too It's too stressful. So I'm just going to put that back up and press play.
Of the aisle. The president has been very hard to box in. I think, obviously, stylistically, he is rather governed in a way that appeals to a broad base of Americans, independents, Republicans, and obviously Democrats. But the policy, the actual prescriptions that the Biden administration are laying out, be it the more than $1 trillion COVID package, be it the multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure package that he's going to be laying out more information about this week.
Bree, if you're playing the thing, then you can't sign up for the GeoGuessr account.
What do you mean?
And they have unlocked.
Well, because you're screen sharing, right? And you've got to sign up for the GeoGuessr account.
No, I'm signing up. I have many windows. I'm only sharing this one window. I'm signing up in the other one.
Oh, I didn't know that was how it worked.
But I'm having trouble. I tried to use the bad faith email and it wouldn't let me. So I'm going to try my personal one. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be on your personal one. We also do have a PayPal account if you want to do PayPal.
I missed my essay meeting tonight.
Your socials alternative.
Mark Lamont Hill thing.
What do you do with these meetings? You're
probably do it.
You're planning that. Well, you're planning to enter the DSA and turn it into a Trotskyist organization, correct? To
exactly what it is.
Weaponize it against.
I missed last week too. I haven't been since Bessemer, but we usually do there's some weekly readings, and someone is on tap to kind of moderate a short discussion about the readings. There's an update about whatever activities have been going on that week, whether it's tabling or they've been doing activism at the Amazon plant in Jersey City. I think New Jersey, something, one of those. Sorry, my bad. I obviously need to be focusing more. Or whatever else they've been doing around the city, update on what's going on in the magazine, regular stuff. There's a social hour after. I think I did this. I don't think I had to pay though.
You get one free and then you got to pay.
So you want me to upgrade to Pro now?
Yeah, might as well. Yeah, should take you a minute.
Okay, if I do it monthly, it's $2.99. Annual, I save $12. It's
fine. Let's do it. Let's do it annual.
Let's just go for it.
Let's do it. Yeah. You know what? You've convinced me to stop having this fear of life and fear of commitments. I can think, all right, I can leave this apartment that's too expensive and the rent goes to some freak asshole that I hate, where I'm not actually, accruing equity in a place that I might want to live in for the rest of my life. But you know what? That doesn't matter because, frankly, all of us are outliers in the universe.
Card?
It's your zip code.
Is it my zip code? Okay.
It's your zip code. All of us are outliers from the mean of reality.
Mm-hmm. What we should be doing on here is finding you a new apartment because I'd be sending you amazing listings and you're like, oh, there's too much brick and built-in bookshelves and charm in this apartment. Why isn't this a sad box?
Look, all I care about is, can the neighbors hear me? Can I hear the neighbors? How big is the tub? That's all I give a shit about. Okay. Everything else is whatever. Backyard, I don't really care.
Okay, porch, I got mail. Okay.
Oh yeah, is anyone going to give me shit for smoking inside? That's a big one. You're not supposed to, but it's a question of who's going to give you shit about it. Because they're giving me shit right here.
I'm going to say play a country battle.
I kind of want
battle.
I kind of want a cigarette right now, honestly.
But Verge, are we doing country battle or distance battle?
What's distance?
Happening? Oh, where's this freaking thing? Oh, let me unshare this. Sorry, I didn't realize this was up the whole time. Okay, I'm going to remove this.
When you go to the front page, it just says world. I like just doing world. Unless you want to do United States.
Wait, sorry, I mean to that. Share screen.
Okay, so we got it. So we're GeoGuessr premium subscribers now.
Oh, okay. Share screen.
I wish we could barter with the GeoGuessr people. One subscription to Bad Faith in exchange for one GeoGuessr subscription. Let's do distance. That's what I'm used to. I don't know how country battle works. Country battle seems like we just pick a country. I don't like that. I like distance.
I like countries.
Oh
Okay,
wait, you're
then-
playing against other people? No.
Well, and I want to play against you. Like Virgil, I'm just trying to figure this out. You're the one.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
I don't know how to. Oh. Well, this doesn't include you. Wait, how do I get out of here? How do I go back?
No, no, just let it happen. Just see what happens.
Wait a minute. I don't want to just
No,
play
no.
this by myself.
No, I'm helping you.
How are you
We're
helping me?
playing it because we're looking at it together and we're playing it together.
Oh, fudge.
There were
Sorry.
just other people there.
Okay. Okay,
I
I'm starting in 13 seconds.
Okay, so I don't know what it means to play against these people. I guess they're rushing to make a guess. We're not going to do that. We're going to take our time. We're not
demonetized. We just never turned ours on. We thought we were being like benevolent or something, but you guys just complain about it. So I guess we'll just take your money or something. I don't know. I guess we'll turn it on.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, is there a
what's
timer
happening?
on this? I don't like this timer. Okay, what are we seeing here?
We're
This
in
is
like the
this is true.
Mediterranean.
Looks very Mediterranean to me. Can you look at these license plates? Oh, they're all blurred out.
What does this say? This could be. Oh, is that?
Oh, is that Arabic?
Pick. No, it said like pick. I distinctly read PICK. Come on, dude.
It's a nice street.
Are other people guessing? What's happening?
Wait,
This is
we have to
stressful.
guess immediately? No, I don't like this.
Look at it, Virgil. This is anxiety.
Yeah, I'm getting really anxious right now. Okay, so I'm seeing palm trees. I want to say this is in the Levant. I want to say guess. I'm not really seeing any English.
It's Israel.
Oh, it's Israel. Let's just guess Israel.
How do I
Guess.
type in? Where do I guess?
Go to the map. Click the map. Click the map. Lower right. Click the map in the lower right. Yeah, and then press on Israel. Yep. Yeah. Really, right now. Do it right now.
Well, do you see?
Damn.
I was trying to focus in.
See, I don't. Okay, so let's go back. Let's get out of this thing because I don't want to play against Burke Yay Aiden. Big shot over here.
Well, can we
Mr.
play country battle?
Genius.
Let's try country battle.
No,
just see
because
what it
no,
is.
no. Get out of the battle thing. No. Go back because that's the same thing we're playing
Okay.
against people. We just want to play solo.
I don't know how to do that.
Go to okay. Here's your problem. You're in battle royale. Go up. Go click GeoGuessr.
Daily
at the top.
challenge. How about daily
No,
challenge?
no.
Explorer mode.
Free.
Explorer mode.
Just free, please.
Say
you're killing me.
something.
Go to geoguessr.com. Get rid of the word explorer in the URL bar. Just go to geoguessr.com.
Well, I paid for Explorer. I feel like I'm trying to get my money's worth.
Just click, see world, go to world. Single player. Done. There you go.
This is like,
This is very America.
yeah, I was going to say like Montana.
This feels very Texas, yeah, or Montana. Like seeing like classic. That's a classic.
No, that's a black person. Oh, they disappeared.
That's what is
Definitely
America. But I would say those are classic American power lines. That's some real ass American power lines.
That's all spread out and crap.
I feel like this is Logico. Love that American brand, Logico.
Yeah, this is our home.
This is some Vim Vendors Paris, Texas ass.
Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam.
I want to hear some twangy guitar and some slap bass right now. Going on a road trip.
You know what's funny? We used to go on these safaris when we lived in Kenya, obviously. And me and this other girl at school, our parents are both teachers. Her name was Erin Gilbertson. And our parents, we got to the school at the same time. And so we did all like the early touristy stuff together. And she and I used to be on safaris with our heads stuck out the top of the vehicle, just harmonizing to Home on the Range at the top of our lungs, which in retrospect is the most cringe-inducing American thing that ever could have happened. This doesn't feel American.
That doesn't feel American. That feels kind of Australian, honestly.
Melbourne. Look, that definitely says Melbourne.
That's Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Okay, Melbourne. Okay, so we're in Australia, folks. Just letting you know that. What was I going to say? I had a story in response to that one. Oh, yeah. Bree, did you see that horrible, awful, video in the New Yorker of Wayne LaPierre and his wife trying to kill an elephant.
Oh my
It's
God.
I don't want to think of. I honestly,
I don't know who those people are,
it
but I
makes me
don't.
so pissed off. Wayne LaPierre was the head of the NRA. I think he's still on the board or something like that. And he's like a fucking. It's like a fucking guy who like lives in a subdivision, sits at a computer all day, but like pretends to be this like fucking like gun moron. Like pretends like that gives his life.
Yeah, I think this is New Zealand. It's greener. Excuse me. I think it's green.
But hang on, Brie. It said Melbourne.
Oh, that's true.
That has to be.
I guess it has to be Australia.
Okay, well, Wayne LaPierre was that
he was Australia or
he was that. I don't know. I'm happy to keep exploring while I tell you the story. So he was the head of the NRA. The new head is, I believe, Oliver North, but Wayne LaPierre is still the head of the NRA.
All the black people on these signs. Maybe it's South. No, there's a lot of black people in these signs. Am I wrong for it to be Australia?
There are black people in these signs. I'm agreeing with you on that.
Okay, sorry. I mean,
I got to see more signs. But is there a Melbourne or South Africa? Maybe, I don't know.
Look, a thing can be from Melbourne. Like a business can have location in Melbourne without it being like like a picture of Australia. You know.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay.
These words
this looks Zulu. Yeah.
This could be South Africa.
I'm kind of with you on the South Africa thing. I would like to see more photo evidence. Anyway, Happy Valley Casino. Oh, I didn't know they had casinos in South Africa.
For sure. Sun City. It's like a whole thing. Yeah.
I've never been to South Africa, but I really like to go. It's like an interesting, like geographically. Like the climate is like a place I've never really been to. I've never at all been to the Southern Hemisphere. I would like
anywhere in the Southern Hemisphere?
Nowhere. But I mean, a lot of shit's happening in the Northern Hemisphere. Like, cut me some slack.
I don't mean to sound like the proletariat or anything, but I'm like, where have you been? Sorry. I'm sorry. Look, it is true that most of the land mass is in the top and in Earth.
The majority of humanity, it's not even close, lives in the Northern Hemisphere.
That is entirely true. I apologize. Shit.
Which is why it's interesting to me. Let's go on this road. It's interesting.
No, the sign was revealing, but I passed. It wouldn't let me like.
So we're pretty clear here. We think this is Africa. This is Africa.
With the gazelle heads and all of this and this.
Is this giving you kind of flashbacks?
So I have been to South Africa, but we didn't explore. Once we went as a family. So my parents were teachers in Kenya, and the school would pay for you to go home once every 2 years. So on the off year, my parents were cheap. So we tried to do something, you wanted to leave because it was rainy season over the summer. My parents were teachers, so we were all home all summer. And so one year we went to South Africa, and this is going to sound so ugly American, but this was so out of character for my parents, but they were so tired. And South Africa is like, especially back then, now I hear everything's changed, but it was like nowhere in Africa. It was like being in California, and there were just so many amenities, and it was so nice, and it felt like, just a level of luxury. So I remember being in this hotel, and it was like this big mall with a hotel in it, and it had like movie theaters, and it was just enormous and like so Western, and we were just so excited to be there. And there was like central air and like milkshakes. Yeah. And so we just like basically stayed in there the entire week. We just vegged, had milkshakes. We saw a Gladiator in the movie theater, in the hotel. We slept in. There were these big heavy drapes in the room my brother and I were in, and we just slept and ate like South African fast food chains and watched movies. And it was like, and shopped. You went there to shop, to get like Western things that didn't cost an arm and a leg. And then the one other time I went was for a soccer trip. I played varsity soccer, and we went for that international ICCA's International
Association Football.
I don't know, the Southeast African Championships. We came in third that year, but soccer was really hard. So, I mean, like soccer was competitive in Africa, so it wasn't bad.
Also, just a quick note, the 2021 NFL draft just concluded. Congratulations to New York Jets for their new quarterback. This is a Mormon guy. Forgot his name. But we'll see how this one works
Congratulations to
out.
this fella.
So we will see. We will see how that works out. But you know, I'm just gonna say it right now. I'm 90% sure that the Jets win the Super Bowl next year.
Mangoes. These roofs are very. We called them. There was a company called Gal Sheet that made this corrugated tin roofs, and so it was ubiquitous. Gal Sheet.
What?
Commercial that we all used to sing in the jingle too.
A lot of people are making suggestions here in
What are
the
they
chat,
suggesting?
and I kind of feel like it's a little cheating to be reading them.
This style of architecture feels right.
Let's see.
Okay, look, I'm seeing elephants here. Now I'm thinking maybe it's like Zimbabwe.
Yeah,
'Cause
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I hear Zimbabwe. People say Zimbabwe is really nice. I've not been. And this feels very East Africa, but not Kenya to me. This gate, this architecture, these little aloe plants, this is all very familiar to me. This terracotta roof, we had a roof like that on our house. This little boma here, this feels very East Africa, and elephants are not everywhere. Kenya has elephants, Tanzania has elephants, like South Africa has them, but they import them because they killed everything off already, but they have money so they can do stuff like that.
What side? They're driving on the left side of the road.
And these people are like all black.
They are black.
And there's like no white people. Although, I mean, obviously there's white South Africans are only 10%. What does that say over there?
Because they drive on
National Football Association of Swaziland. We are in Swaziland.
We're in Swaziland.
Swaziland. All right, we were on the right. So okay, now we know.
We can just pick somewhere in Swaziland because it's super tiny.
Just pick somewhere in Swaziland.
It's pretty tiny.
Come on. This fucking thing. Shit. Sorry. I'm having window problems.
Well, now that we are a paid subscriber to the GeoGuessr company, we can demand to speak to their manager.
No, it's my computer. I have too much shit open and it's causing me a little bit of angina.
Yeah, you're actually kind of breaking up a little bit because I think you got a lot of crap going on.
Sorry, I'm trying to close this video out and some other stuff. Okay.
Yeah, I think that was doing it.
Okay. We're calling it.
Oh yeah, Eswatini
now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they changed the name.
Oh wait, didn't we see that? Didn't we see that word?
But we're not in the city center, so I don't know. Maybe it's like one of those maybe like highway where it says La Bamba.
Okay, I'm gonna do this one because it's a park here, some kind of game park potentially.
Okay. Go a little go like a slightly further out, slightly further, like right mid. Yeah, good enough? That's beautiful. Let's do it. Yeah, let's go.
Whoa, this is excellent.
That was really good. That was 19 kilometers. That's what, 1 mile? I don't know. That's really good. That's really good. That's amazing. Really good. We're really good. Do you want to do one that's amazing? Do you want to do one that's just America?
Okay.
Because if you go to the home page,
how do I do that?
Just hit on the upper left the GeoGuessr logo in the upper left. It should take you to the home page. Yeah, see, you can do United States.
Okay. God, I'm hungry. I kind of want another pickle, or do I want like something with calories in it? Start game. Do I want like oatmeal?
Oh, this is very America.
This is like Ohio. America's so green and lush.
This is USA. Yeah.
America legit is so lush and beautiful. Like America is legitimately very beautiful.
Oh, America's great.
I'm not just biased.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
Which way should I go?
And it's not that populated.
No, it's empty. Everybody should come here.
Yeah, no, Matt Iglesias, billion Americans. You're right.
Oh, the season changed.
Oh, season just changed now.
Oh, and again. Where do you think we are? I think we're in the Midwest or like Pennsylvania.
I'm actually kind of thinking we're in like Virginia, but
because
I'm kind of looking at these houses, but you know what? I can't really make a determination.
This says, oh wait, what? The sign.
Need some clues first.
Wait, okay.
Oh,
bridal seamstress. That doesn't help me. It says a word there, but it's too blurry. I can't make it out. But the bottom says bridal seamstress.
Keep going down the street and we'll find a Hardee's or something that
Okay,
has the name of the city.
A church, Assembly of God, doesn't tell
Where
me.
are there religious people in America? Wait, is
This says something. Welcome. That's not helpful. Okay.
Oh yeah, Bree. I just wanted to read you. It's really gross. I just want to read you from this article. So this is Wayne LaPierre is head of the NRA.
Snow removal, so not Virginia.
Wait, there's snow in Virginia.
Barely.
Fine. So this is Wayne LaPierre went to Africa to kill an elephant. Here's the story. It shows that when reading from the story, it shows that when guides tracked down an elephant for LaPierre, the NRA chief proved to be a poor marksman. After LaPierre's first shot wounded the elephant, guides brought him a short distance from the animal, which was lying on its side immobilized. Firing from point-blank range, LaPierre shot the animal 3 times in the wrong place.
Oh my
Finally, a guide had the host of Under Wild Skies, which I assume is a TV show. I think this is a reality TV show thing, fire the shot that killed the elephant. Later that day, Susan LaPierre showed herself to be a better shot than her husband. After guides tracked down an elephant for her, Susan killed it, cut off its tail, and held it in the air. "Victory," she shouted, laughing. "That's my elephant tail. Way cool."
That's so nauseating.
These are sick. I cannot relate, like, on a basic genetic level to a human being who acts in this fashion.
There's something about the sign is for robotic surgery. I mean, it's nauseating. I always have to make myself, because I'm challenging myself. Obviously, I'm deeply imperfect, and I'm always constantly wrestling with my own values and ethics and what I need to do in my life to be morally consistent. And one of those things is meat consumption. And so I always kind of check myself. It's like, what part of this story am I upset about? Is it the fact that it's an elephant and it's an intelligent animal and maybe more intelligent than the chicken that I eat? Is it that they're not even going to use this animal? They're just doing it because they enjoy killing? That's certainly part of it. But is part of it that it's just there's distance between me and the animals that I kill for consumption?
Shouldn't we allow ourselves to appreciate the majesty of the megafauna that have survived the last extinction event?
Just because they're big? You're happy to eat that horseshoe crab a second ago. What is it, by the way?
Monster.
Am I just doing this alone? Am I just here
alone? Oh, I'm here also. I was reading you a thing.
Day Kimball Healthcare. Is this anything? Atlanta.
Oh yeah. Old Dave Kimball. I don't know. This just looks like everywhere in America. We gotta keep going. We gotta keep going until we see a sign.
Oh my God. Can we do this so that you could start one of these streams at one point so that you can do all this technical
stuff? Oh, you want me to do it?
And talk about dead elephants?
Okay.
Plainfield High School. Where's Plainfield? New Jersey? Isn't there a Plainfield, New Jersey?
Yeah, where's the one Plainfield in America?
Okay.
We gotta find another sign. We gotta keep going. Just gotta keep going. Okay,
if you don't stop and look at the stuff, you don't know whether you're supposed to keep going or not. You can't just go endlessly. You got to stop and actually zoom in on the signs.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. But we're gonna reach a junction at some point.
Jewel City Savings, Jewett City. I don't know what Jewett City is.
This is just me. This all just seem like generic shit that you'd see in a TV show. Like in Bob's Burgers, you'd see a sign that says "Nothing beats a Cargill deal." This is
Bob's Burgers, the show you don't like.
This is giving me unreality.
Okay, wait a minute. Danny's Diner. That is not helpful. Oh, eggs. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Is no one impressed with how good my eyesight is? Also,
let's be good. What's the area code?
Eggs. 860. 860.
Don't know that one offhand, but there's a green sign up ahead.
Norwich, Moosup, Canterbury, Quinbog Valley, Quinbog Hatchery, Valley.
State of Connecticut. So we are in Connecticut.
Connecticut. There you go. I said Pennsylvania, Connecticut. They're adjacent.
Oh, what's on here? This
beer
person. All right.
Just lots of beer.
There we go. While I saw the top one, do you want to hear another quote from that story of the depravity of these two individuals?
Yeah, it's all I dream about.
That was amazing, Susan says, batting her chest. Wow, my heart is racing. I feel great. She walks over to the elephant. That was awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. She expects the elephant, bends at the waist, and seems to think the elephant is still alive. Oh, he's still there. Look at his eyes. She places her hand on her chest, laughs, walks around the elephant, and pats one of its tusks. Beautiful animal, she says. And then, speaking to the elephant, you're a good old guy, a real good old guy. Like that's just Nazi behavior. Let's be real on that. This is totally
Elephants
unforgivable.
really are. I mean, I really struggle with the idea that we value animals based on how human they are, and I think that is a kind of speciesism that shouldn't be how we value life. I think that's a very convenient way of doing things, but obviously that pulls on my heartstrings. And elephants are just so, they're just so sentient and
It's
feeling
one thing
smart and
to grapple with this question of eating meat and the propriety of it. It's another thing to be a wealthy individual like the LaPierres and the Donald Trump Jr. Or Eric Trump and like the fucking Trump shithead kids, and spend all of this money in order to torture megafauna. Do we give up on the game?
I mean, we're in Connecticut. Do you want me to press the thing or not? Like, what do you want me to do?
Oh yeah. No, I was just talking over the game. That's all.
Okay, like I'm just gonna press anywhere in Connecticut.
Well, you want to keep going?
Well, there's nothing. What am I gonna discover? I don't know the name of this town. I don't know this. I'm not familiar with this town. I don't know anything about it.
We like keep going till we reach like a major.
I'm not
junction.
driving around endlessly because I can't multitask. I can't concentrate. If you want to download StreamYard and figure out how to do this so that you can aimlessly, but I can't think and randomly click down the highway looking for clues while you get to just sit there and read and talk about elephants. So I'm ready to guess. Are you not ready to guess?
So you're saying you want me to drive, basically?
Oh, shoot. I clicked the wrong place and I got it wrong because I clicked Baltimore. Sorry.
Yeah, I can drive next time. No, it's fine. I can drive. I can download the software and figure it out.
I'm sorry. That was an accident.
No,
but I am happy it's over. It's stressful. I have to sit here multitasking for no reason.
I don't find it stressful. Well, you're in the driver's seat. Oh, wait, fine. We'll switch it up. Next time we'll switch
like everybody else. Why am I fucking driving and everyone else gets to just relax?
Tell you what, next time I'll be in the driver's seat.
Okay.
I'll be in the driver's seat.
I
would like, but you know my computer. Well, not all of us got a computer from the Bernie campaign. Is this something? Is it just browser based? It's not like actual software, right?
StreamYard is so easy. I don't even know how I did it. Katie Hopper's the one that taught me how to do it over like the holidays.
So I've got to take the Katie Halper tutorial.
I mean, we planned to sit down and for her to talk me through it. And then it was like 2 seconds. It was literally like download StreamYard and put in your email address. And it like links it to your, YouTube, obviously. And you can live stream you can cast it to Facebook too, but I haven't quite figured out how to do that.
I was thinking of trying to do Twitch next.
We should do that. You should control that.
I want to do. I mentioned that to Ben that let's work out the technicals together, and then let's do it. Because I think Twitch is somewhat more fruitful than YouTube. I mean, I don't know. It's all just fucking the content thrasher.
I was thinking about this today, Shark, because when I was on my run, I was stopped at a light and this big, juicy black ant crossed my path. And I thought about, this ant isn't bothering me. I'm obviously not going to kill this ant, but how possible it was. And then I was thinking about what it would mean about me if I killed this ant. How inconsequential it would be and how nobody would know but me, but how I would know that it meant something about me that I would kill this ant. And also, what does my deliberation about this ant mean when I would happily kill a mosquito on my arm, right? Because I would think this is about to bite me. This is of consequence to me. That life doesn't matter. The second I'm inconvenienced in the slightest bit, I'm completely fine killing it. Or the fact that I have all these those little closet moths that eat your cashmere, they eat your winter coats and stuff. And I'd be slaughtering those left, right, and center. Not my expensive coat, not my best sweater.
It sounds like you're on the road to becoming a Janist.
I mean, like, obviously not, because I'm like massacring these things. Also, I got home from my run the other night and I had like, my hair in a poof. And I looked in the mirror in the bathroom and I had like 7 gnats. Like, there's so many gnats in DC. Like, it's like gnat time of year where it's humid and gnats. And I just I like ran through all of these like swarms of gnats. And when I got home, it was just like I had a gnat collection in my poof. Like, literally, I went like this and like 10 gnats fell out into the sink. Just like dead gnats that I had trapped. Anyway, the point is that I obviously have no problem killing things. I just had some, microwave, butter chicken from Trader Joe's for dinner. And it's like, I don't know. Like, I Nathan Robinson wrote an article that was kind of controversial many years back called like something inflammatory, like the Holocaust for animals. Yes, I know. But the thing that makes me not as annoyed at his approach as compared to some of the vegans that sometimes I don't think take the most constructive approach is that his point is just like, maybe you can't be vegan like me, but what could you do to be a little bit better? And I can do a little bit better, and a little bit better, and a little bit better, an inch closer to a more ideal place. And it's tough. Like, I feel like those elephant people, if you told them, I can make it for you so that you never have to kill another animal. I have an invention of fake meat that tastes exactly like real meat and has no environmental consequences.
The LaPierre.
Want it? They would say, no, I don't want it. I want the real thing just because I'm a cruel jerk.
Yeah. I object to referring to them as people, but go on.
I once had a big fight with like my first boyfriend in college about this because he was from a place where they make a lot of cars. And we were talking about
saying that like you don't want to say the name of the city, or
because I'm trying to protect his identity or something. I don't know.
Okay, well this. Okay, sure, yeah, right. He's from Japan. Got it.
And we were having some kind of light conversation about like what kind of car you would buy in an ideal world, and I was like, in an ideal world, you wouldn't buy like an environmentally friendly car, like an electric car, or whatever. And he was like, no, the coolest cars don't come in electric. This is keep in mind, this is also like 2005 or something.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, but I understand that obviously aesthetics are a part of it. But what if you could have the exact car that you want aesthetically, but it is also just a hybrid? Wouldn't that be your ideal car? And in a moment of youthful obstinance, he was like, no, I want like the real thing. I want the diesel. I want the vroom vroom. I want the da-da-da. And I was so angry. This is the kind of thing I used to fight about back then. I was so angry. I was like, as a matter of principle, you just want this thing that you know that is bad for the environment. We had this enormous, stupid fight over it that, of course, I had to win.
You want he was wrong.
Yeah,
all he's craving is a simulacrum of the real.
That's my thing. And I feel like, obviously, he eventually capitulated, and he didn't really mean it, but he was just being,
That's why you're not still together. I mean, he might have had this argument with fucking 5 other girlfriends since then.
But like, that's how I feel. Like, if he had meant it, like, that's how I feel that these elephant people are. Like, it's a matter of principle that they want to be cruel. They want to do the bad thing.
And that's bad, and we shouldn't respect it. And as well for the fact that that happens to coincide with being some of the most privileged and powerful members of society. Like, I think we've all seen that picture of, I don't know, maybe it was Don Jr., maybe it was Eric. I think it was Don Jr. with a shit-eating grin after he cut off an elephant's tail. And, the things, the feelings, the reactions to any normal person, any normal human being, I don't care what your particular ideology is or your particular moral structure is, the gut reaction to that is something that cannot be said on this show or publicly without being banned.
Yeah, I mean, like this. Sorry, I got distracted because Jane McAlevey is interacting with one of our tweets, and it's really cute. About our last episode, which is really good, and people like it. I'm just
It was a great episode.
It's a great episode.
I love her energy. I love her. I love her
Me
whole deal.
too. Because can I
It
tell you,
rocks.
I mean, you know how I feel about this, Virgil. I think that sometimes people throw out organizing as a way to like shut down the conversation, but talking to an actual organizer, that wasn't how it felt at all. And her verve and courage and willingness to do the thing was really inspiring. And I am torn because I am not an organizer and I don't necessarily feel like I should be. I am literally someone who works in comms, and I feel like I'm kind of good at that. And I think that these talents are good in tandem. But I also hear her saying, well, everyone wants to do narrative stuff and some more people need to be organizers. And I hear that. I guess on some level, I'm like, well, I'm actually good at the narratives. I don't know. Maybe I'm being narcissistic and I should just be an organizer, but it makes
You don't
me
have to
actually
be
want
an
to.
organizer. It's fine. Most people aren't.
Sure, but to her, she makes me actually want to do it. And we did do some of it, frankly, around Force the Vote, even though people want to pretend like that's not a thing. But I don't know. She just was an inspiring presence and she was great. But to your last point, this comment that I threw up on the screen, I think it's going to be something different that gets everybody to reconsider their relationship with animals and consumption. And the thing about not all vegans, but some vegans, is that they take a very adversarial approach that's similar to the kind of social justice warrior who will be like, you're a racist, and expect everybody to change. Like there's a vegan version of that. My friend, my former podcast co-host, Joe Lee, and I were once doing a photo shoot for our podcast, SWOTY, Someone's Wrong on the Internet. And we were in Washington Square Park taking pics, just like minding our own business, summer day, taking pics with our friend Meredith, taking pictures of us. And these vegans that happened to be there in the park start screaming at us, just screaming at us, leather wearers. Now, it was summer. Neither of us was wearing any leather. We were wearing like cotton t-shirts and pants and like flip-flops. Like we literally actually were unintentionally dressed with no leather. But one of them started screaming like, I'd rather you be dead than the animal. I'm like, that doesn't seem very humanistic. Like that doesn't seem like the ethics. All animals should live except for me, a human being. Like that doesn't seem like an ideology that I want to get into. Then my friend made the mistake of shouting back, you catch more flies with honey. Oh wait, I'm sorry, honey's not vegan. We had a good laugh at that, but the vegan didn't think it was very funny, and then we had to like flee the park because he was getting very angry.
Just got into a knife fight type situation.
But you see my point. Like this guy was literally wishing us dead as he was asking us to have compassion for animals, which we were ready to have a conversation about, except it was just all about his like own ego and accusing people of things that weren't even rooted in reality. And it's just like you are turning people off. I'm someone who's actively on a journey to like cut meat out of her diet, and that interaction, all I wanted to do was like pull a Republican and eat a 13-ounce steak in front of him.
All I'm thinking is I'm glad that Bill de Blasio cleaned up that part of town, and it's just not as scary for leather wearers anymore. If you want to see people wearing leather in a bad fashion, go to pretty much any Midwestern city. That's mean.
Virgil, first of all, well, let me not reveal. Let's not have a conversation about leather jackets.
Okay, no more conversations about
no
leather.
more.
I think we've said enough about it. We've been going for a bit here. If we could maybe do like one last question to close on, I think that'd be a nice closer. This has been a great stream, by the way. I feel great. Feel great. I came in with not the best vibes.
No,
not the best vibe. No, I wasn't feeling great when I came in.
Why?
But I'm coming out of it with very good vibes. I think. With
Me too.
All of our activities.
I've got good vibes too.
If someone wants to ask the last question, I'm like scrolling through this. It's a lot of shit.
Virgil, are you either of these types? Are you these person? Do you know your personality type?
What the letters shit?
Yeah.
No, that's all fake.
But do you know what you're supposed to be?
No. It's all made up. Unless you're involving the date of time of my birth, then it's all fake.
Well, is it like, am I revealing something? Someone was like, don't post your chart, Brianna. People can use it to do like hocus pocus on you. Like
people cannot figure out your birthday if you post your chart.
I mean, And people know my birthday. That's just on Wikipedia.
That's on Wikipedia.
I am neither of these things. I don't know if this person was trying to guess you or me. I'm the thing that Oprah is.
Black?
And Barack Obama. No, personality type. I think it's one of the rarer ones, is what I've heard.
I don't know what any of
I took the test. I'm
it all seems like, well, because all the tests are vague. Like all the questions, I've seen those tests. I've never finished one because I started taking one for fun, and it's like 90 questions, and they're all just vague shit.
It's very. It takes a long time.
You know, do you enjoy social situations? Like, what? I don't. Sometimes, like, what the fuck? I am supposed to fucking answer this.
Oh, this person says, just got here, but isn't Brie ENFJ? Correct.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. She's ENFJ.
Obama is ENTP. Okay, I'm happy not being Obama, but definitely it was Oprah that I remember seeing. That was. Virgil, you're
this is one of the many.
right?
This is one of the many things that's astrology for men. This is Myers-Briggs test. Just get rid of it, just for yourself.
Yeah,
from
better.
The acidity of this kind of shit.
What I think is interesting is that you, me, and Ben are all fire signs.
Yeah, that's why we make a fire show. That's why we're fucking dropping hot fire every week at Bad Faith Podcast.
Arguably, we need we need like a good earth sign to do our taxes and handle our business.
No, I think we got it covered. I think things are going fine. Just everyone listening to this, just don't work for the IRS or contact the IRS about any of the tax issues that we've discussed right now. Any of the various things that we're writing off. As far as you know, that's all fine. So we're all cool. We're all on the same page about all of this.
Amen. Did we have a last question, or are we just gonna wrap it up?
To be honest with you, people are mostly just commenting. No one's asking.
Hey, can you guys please if you're not already subscribed to our channel, subscribe, because if you're not subscribed, we don't schedule these live streams. You know how we are. We just hop on when the feeling strikes us. So you won't know what's happening unless you subscribe and click the notification bell so you get notifications. Okay?
Yeah, go to hell. I agree.
All right. So subscribe. Here, let me put the banner back up. Because some people are visual learners. Okay. Subscribe. Do you see this? Subscribe and hit the notification bell. Okay.
Hit the bell. So if we do it on Twitch, like, you're not gonna get it.
There are 772 of you still here after 3 hours at midnight.
Really? Is that many people? There's so many people here watching these? Jesus Christ.
It was more.
I had no idea we had that much appeal.
Yes.
That's like really big. To just like walk on and be like, hey, we're just gonna talk about something.
Yeah, it is, because Virgil, like, honestly, I keep going back to the conversation we had last summer where you called me kind of out of the blue. I was so surprised. I did not understand. People really need to understand that we did not have a relationship. And you kind of called me out of the blue. And I remember I did laps around my building and my block while talking to you because I didn't want to disturb my ex who was in my apartment at the time. And it was such a weird time. And you were like, let's do this. And I was like, how do you know we even have anything to say to each other? Like, how do you know? Like, how do you know? And I just want to give all the credit to Virgil, no middle name Texas.
Marie. We've been over this many, many times. I don't know why you insist on saying that. It's Marie.
Virgil Marie Texas. When I give people fake middle names, I always go for Ellen for some reason. Well, my best friend's middle name is Ellen, but that's not the reason. Anyway, I'm thankful for you, Virgil. I'm thankful for these vibes.
I'm thankful for you too, Brie. I'm thankful for what we built on this show with the full knowledge of the futility of all human endeavors that we nevertheless strive. And I've been meaning to say this, and I might as well say it here. I am thankful for your willingness to call out the Biden administration, to maintain your objectivity, and to call out obvious lies on a regular basis. And very often I can't relate to what you're saying because I'm not reading the same things. And you're like, hey, look at this guy. Look at this fucking bullshit lie. And I'm like, well, that was a Warren supporter, so that's not a human being to me. That's not the discourse that I'm involved in. I'm grateful that you're actually going there. You're actually going into the goddamn discourse, and you're actually giving the fucking straight dope, and that you are using your analytical skills for good. And I think that you get so much shit that you don't fucking deserve to get simply by doing that. I think ultimately a lot of the criticism that you get boils down to, well, Bree should just not have an opinion. Like, this is just, you just shouldn't talk about things. Well, that's okay. Well, then that's, you want to universalize that, then nobody's going to fucking talk about anything. Sorry. We're going to do the goddamn show. We're going to talk about the fucking issues. Even when it gets boring and weird, we're going to fucking talk about them. And we're going to keep pulling in the directions that are good to pull in. I hope that all made sense. That rambling.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, Virgil. Honestly, I feel bad sometimes because I feel like, oh God, what am I dragging Virgil into? Like, what am I forcing Virgil to associate with? Oh Lord, here I go. I'm about to say force the vote again. And like, how is that gonna hurt Virgil?
Well,
and like,
what we're gonna do? We're gonna get a jar. You know what? This is a good way to close. I have a jar. And I assume you have one of these in your apartment. If you don't, there you go. There's a jar that might have contained honey or elephant meat or something or other in the past.
My ex used to use it to pickle eggs.
Well, what was it originally?
He brought it as a pickling jar.
Oh, that's bullshit. No, that's not. No, it's all right. We'll find that works. Okay, whatever. Going forward, anytime that you have to talk about force the vote, then you're gonna put a quarter in that jar.
Oh God, I have to go figure out how to get quarters. I haven't like touched money in a year.
You don't have a big jar of quarters in your house? Okay, well then okay, so we both have
a jar of like international money and like some loose change. I do. I have a plastic cup from the college cafeteria over there with money and receipts in it.
Well, then I tell you what, we both have homework to do. You gotta get some quarters. Gotta go outside, go to the bank. Get some quarters. The bank has to give you quarters. Like, they don't have a choice. They have to give you quarters if you ask them for quarters.
Okay, I'll get some quarters.
Okay. A lot of people know that. That's a little news you can use from bad faith. And every time you want to talk about force of vote, you just put a quarter in the jar.
We'll get Ben to do a sound effect when it happens on episodes so people know. At the end of the year, I'll give them money to some good mutual aid situation.
We'll have we've got the David Lynch sound effect. Force of vote sound effect. I mean, I like to think the David Lynch sound effect is like one of the strains from his films. I don't know what the force of vote sound effect is going to be. Maybe like
there's a song. There's a force of vote theme song.
Okay, that's news to me.
Someone wrote it for the live stream, the Force the Vote town hall, and it's kind of snap. Force the vote. You know that you have got to force the vote. It's like a whole thing. It's good.
Okay. I don't know. I was thinking like maybe like a non-lyrical, like a 1 second kind of funky riff or something like that. But we can work it out. I don't think you need to be worried about that because I think you're doing what you got to do. I'm doing what I got to do, and you and I are doing what we got to do together, and it's great.
It's great.
So,
thank you, comrade.
Thank you, comrade. Solidarity forever. Thank you to everyone who has been watching this stream. You've been on a fun trip. I know most of you haven't muted, and you're just listening to the Force the Vote song on repeat or whatever you're doing.
It's a good song.
Wonderful Thursday night. But I'm glad we could give you pleasing sounds and images on this evening. We will do more of that in the future, maybe on Twitch, because we can watch movies on Twitch and riff over the movies. And we also do games. This was great. Glad to get back in it. Hope you're enjoying the Discord. Hope you're enjoying our posts. Hope you're enjoying everything. COVID's over. Congratulations. All the problems are solved.
Good night. And as always,
keep the faith.
Keep the faith.